I think we all know the gist of what a speedrun is. Play game fast. But there's so much more that goes into it than what's on the surface. People spend hundreds of hours practicing games, finding optimal routes, discovering the most precise glitches that can save from minutes to just a few frames, which if you don't know is basically risking your entire run just for a few milliseconds of time save. I've come to love speedruns, watching them at least. Something about them is really cool to me, and I think the community is really cool. It's all cool. I've been lurking and watching various speedrunners for a decent amount of time, and I decided that I wanted to do a speedrun. Now, I don't really have the time to set aside hundreds of hours to hone my skill on whatever game I want, so I decided I had to do a blind speedrun where I just play it for the first time and try my best. I spent a few days racking my brain on what game I'd like to run. I like Pokemon. Maybe I could run a Pokemon game, but that's a lot of researching and memorizing and luck. I could try a Mario game. It's a popular category, but I don't know if it's for me. Then it hit me. The perfect game. Of course. Why hadn't I thought of it sooner? I ran to speedrun.com to check if anyone has run it yet. No one. None. I'm gonna be the first person in the world to speedrun Cooking Mama 2 Dinner with Friends. That I know of. Why did I choose Cooking Mama? Because, dude, Cooking Mama is awesome. If you haven't played, it's a DS game where you follow steps to make food and impress Mama. The better you do, the better score you get. Plus, I'm at an advantage when it comes to preparing food. I've seen Food Wars. I know all the techniques and secrets. If you're under 18, don't look it up. Why did I choose the second game and not the original? That's the one I bought. Duh. I used to play Cooking Mama all the time as a kid with my friend Kate. I always thought Mama's English was really funny.
Great! You gave it your best effort.
I still love it. We even had this system where if we kept failing at a recipe, we'd have to change chairs because that one had bad luck. Obviously. I don't have that luxury this time because I have to stay by the computer, so I'll have to come up with a better strategy. Also, extra movements lose time. I need to be efficient here. Anyway, I wanted to have some sort of challenge, so I decided to add some rules to my run. 1, I have to fully complete the main game mode, Cook with Mama. 2, I have to receive a gold medal on every single recipe. That means I can't make a mistake. Ever. Can't burn a single onion, can't accidentally pour the rice into the sink, can't smack my hand while pounding mochi. If I do, the whole recipe needs to be redone. 3, that's it. Do it fast, I guess. The first recipe is pizza, and I was off to a pretty good start. Obviously, it's a speedrun, so I didn't have time to read the little description on what to do each step, but for the most part, I was able to use my massive IQ and big, strong brain to decode the objectives in split seconds. Except in the last step where I didn't know how to work the oven and failed immediately. Again, off to a great start. After deciphering how the oven worked, I was moving on quickly. Peanut butter, poke the peanuts, done. Oops. Recover, adapt, overcome. Done. Sea bream carpaccio. Exfoliate the fish, chopping, restart. Choose smaller knife, easy peasy. Corn soup. Ew. Bald the corn, boil, strain. Oh, come on! Not all the corn came out. Alright, admittedly, I was making a lot of mistakes at the beginning. I was nervous because it was my first speedrun, and I didn't know what I had to do most of the time, and was generally panicking. But then I remembered that no Cooking Mama 2 speedruns exist yet, so that means I'm on world record pace, and that made me feel better. One mechanic I had to learn the hard way was, when it comes to the oven, choose the low heat. The first attempt, I decided to go with the medium heat to go a little bit faster. And look at this! Oh no! What was that? That was a speedrun in itself. Burn the apple pie as quick as possible. You know how there's separate categories in speedruns? Mario Odyssey has the one where you take Mario's shirt off as fast as possible called nipple percent. I want one for Cooking Mama 2 called burnt apple pie percent, where you just burn the apple pie as quickly as possible. Anyway, I redid the pie and was moving on. Bonk! Ill rice bowl. We're about an hour in at this point. I had my friends in a Discord call so they can help me take notes so I didn't have to rewatch all the footage again for the script. And they decided to look up how many recipes there actually were in the game. I didn't know because I wanted to go in completely blind. And you know what they discovered? There are a total of 80 recipes in this game. An hour in, I was on recipe 8. Which would be impressive in real life, but not here. So either we were gonna pull a Cooking Mama all-nighter, or I had to start picking up the pace. Sorry, Shrimp. this is gonna get violent. It wasn't perfect, and I was still making some mistakes, but I started getting into the zone. It helped that I was starting to get familiar with the mechanics and actually know what the game wanted me to do for most of the steps now. Waffles, chili dog, meatloaf, lobster. I was one-shotting all of them. I even put 2 mama flags on the lobster, which was a bit risky, but you know me, I live for the danger.
I almost forgot to put the lobster on.
Let me pause and tell you a story of my childhood. I already mentioned my love for Cooking Mama as a kid. Even 12 years ago, I set myself the goal of getting gold in all the recipes. But one haunting memory I have of this game was my struggle against the Mama Rice Cracker. All the steps are relatively simple, but at the end you have to stamp all 18 crackers with a Mama stamp. That's what makes the Mama Rice Cracker the Mama Rice Cracker. But as a kid, my DS was old and I dropped it a few times, which messed up the calibration on my screen in a way I couldn't fix. So that meant at the very end of the recipe, it was extremely hard for me to stamp the stamp in the exact spot that Mama wanted. I spent weeks, I'm not joking, trying to get the gold on the Mama Rice Cracker. It was the last one I needed, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. I'm pretty sure I was eventually able to pass, but let's just say I didn't for the sake of drama. Either way, I was having PTSD. I was going through all the steps, washing the rice, putting the rice in the little hole, mochi pounding the rice scoop, and then it appeared. The screen that caused the most pain a video game could to a 10-year-old. I was slowly making my way down the line. Everything was going well. Then all of a sudden, on the 10th cracker, I accidentally tapped the screen when I was lining up my pen, causing me to not brand the cracker enough. I'm not one to believe in spiritualism or star signs or Destiny's Child, whatever that stuff is. But that moment in particular made me question if it was all real and my only fate is to eternally fail the last step of the Mama Rice Cracker recipe until I inevitably die an unaccomplished old man that makes ugly rice crackers. I did it right the next time, but that would have been unfortunate, right? With the Mama Rice Cracker conquered, now nothing was in my way, and I was making my way through the rest of the recipes. At the 2-hour, 37-minute mark, 27 recipes in, Ari got out of his cage and was running around the room, so I had to spend precious time getting him back under control. That was a loss of 2 minutes right there. Then I missliced the raviolis, so I'm blaming all of that misfortune on Ari. I actually struggled a lot on the ravioli recipe. The pasta is really hard to cut because you have to time the slice with the line, but since I was so focused on when to cut, a lot of the time I would deviate from the actual line to cut from and mess up. Then when I was able to get past that stage, for some reason the mic had trouble hearing me blow, so even though I was doing what I was supposed to, I'd fail anyway.
Do you hear it?
Overall, I had to redo the ravioli recipe 6 times, and I spent 11 minutes on it. Not great. Thanks, Ari. But after that, I was able to one-shot both the cake and the spring rolls. And can we talk about how the ice cream recipe literally just makes you scoop out store-bought ice cream and put sprinkles on it? That's been my favorite recipe so far. Skipping forward a bit, let's talk about the mango pudding. This was ravioli part 2. The first step I had trouble with was memorizing the order of the ingredients. It was a 6-part Simon Says memory game, and my big smooth brain can only handle one number at a time before the concept of object permanence leaves my body. I inevitably got a lucky pattern that was easy to remember, and after a few more steps, in the end, I had to draw a line at a specific speed that would remove the pudding cleanly. Too slow and it wouldn't come out. Too fast and it just... For the life of me, I couldn't get the pacing right 3 consecutive times in a row. And with the combined difficulty of that, along with the memorizing, I spent another 10 minutes trying to get it right and still failing. My confidence was shattered and I had to take a mental health break. I'll be back for you, mango pudding. I'll come back stronger, and I'll cook you so well I'll become the mama. I was in shambles from the pudding, but was able to move on and started getting back into a rhythm. All these foods, I was knocking them out one by one. I will note that I struggled with popcorn because I thought there was going to be some sort of indicator or something on when to open the lid. So I just sat there until I realized I burnt it all.
Oh, wait.
So I was like, oh, okay, I'll open it when I hear the popping sounds. And then I opened it with like 5 popcorns. But it's okay, I was able to figure it out. Overall, the rest of the run went on without any major problems. I was able to finish up the rest of the recipes, and at the 6-hour, 38-minute mark, I only had 2 recipes left. The bento box, and of course, the mango pudding. Time is ticking. We're in the end game now. Also, my Discord friends were ready to never talk to me again. I thought I could just get the bento box over with quickly because it's like, you just put food in box, right? Well, actually, I didn't realize I had to include food from all the categories Mama gave me or something. So I failed it like 3 times and was on the brink of insanity trying to figure out what Mama wanted from me. The food is in the box, Mama. What's what a bento box is? Food in box. What else do you need? Blood? A blood sacrifice? It didn't say anywhere in the instructions that I should have put more variety in there. Not that I was reading the instructions anyway. I still, right now, don't know what Mama wanted, but at least I finally got the gold after 4 minutes. That meant I only had 1 last recipe. 79 were completed. The mango pudding was the only thing standing between me and the first Cooking Mama 2 Dinner with Friends world record. I clicked it nervously, but I climbed my mountain. I trained with Mama, and I've come back a new chef. Peeling, slicing, blending, I was quicker than ever. There it was. The memorizing. I was doing well until...
No!
I restarted. I was sweaty and shaking. My brain was shutting down. My eyes had only been seeing Cooking Mama for the past 6 hours and 45 minutes. Every breath was Cooking Mama. Every neuron in my skull was Cooking Mama. Every atom in the universe at that moment was Cooking Mama. But my next attempt, oh my god, oh Jesus, is this the one? I nervously went through the rest of the recipe until I arrived at the last step. It's been about 3 hours and 15 minutes since I practiced removing the pudding from the mold, and to be honest, I don't remember the removal strats. First one, second one, let's go! I got all the puddings out flawlessly. I waited until the results to confirm it. Boom! 100 points on the mango pudding. Stop the timer. I did it. At long last, all 80 recipes in Cooking Mama 2 gold. In 6 hours, 47 minutes, and 27 seconds. There might be some room for improvement there. Overall, I had a really fun time with the speedrun. It's not even close to a good run, and the time can easily be halved, but I still pride myself in knowing I was the first one to complete and document the Cooking Mama 2 all gold %, and also burnt apple pie %. If there's any speedrunners out there wanting to try and take my crown, I'll share some speed strats I thought of during the run. If you complete the steps too quickly, you get a bonus, and at the end of the recipe, if you get 5 bonuses, you receive a gift that you can't reject or skip, which loses a lot of time. You're smothering me, Mama. So if you can get no bonuses within the entire game, you'd be saving a lot of time. Another tip is, if you're gonna mess up the recipe, don't mess up the last step. Because if you do, you have to wait through Mama giving you your score and clapping for you and being like, yeah, it's almost perfect. And the whole time you're like, yes, Mama, I know it's not perfect. I dropped an egg. And then she gives you like 3 presents in a row because you got too many bonuses. And you're just screeching at her to shut up the whole time. I didn't discover any glitches that would save time, unfortunately. I don't know what a Cooking Mama glitch would look like, but it doesn't sound pleasant. But it doesn't matter, because as of this moment right here, I'm the one with the Cooking Mama 2 Dinner with Friends world record. Guess I finally did something with my life after all. Anyway, thanks for watching my first attempt at a speedrun. I think, in hindsight, I should have chosen a game that could have been done in a few less hours, because I feel like I aged 20 years after this. But you live and learn.
I wanted to submit my run to speedrun.com, but since no one has run the game yet, I need to submit a request to add Cooking Mama 2 Dinner with Friends. But I only made my account last night, and to make a request, I need to have had my account for 7 days. So I'll submit it in 7 days. But it's not gonna be interesting. I didn't record my audio with it. It's just 6 hours of Cooking Mama gameplay. Also, we're working to drop some new merch in the shop really soon. I don't know if it's on the site yet, but it's coming. And we've got some real fun stuff in the works. Alright, that's it. See you later.
When Carl Jacobs popped up in my DMs asking if I wanted to be in Mr. Beast's upcoming video, I'll be honest,
My gut reaction was fear. Mr. Beast has basically become YouTube's own mad scientist. He can snap his fingers and shape reality at this point. Despite part of me thinking I should just stay in the comfort of my own home, I felt really honored to be invited and kinda just wanted to show up, say hi, and then realistically go home within the first round of eliminations. I accepted the ominous invitation, and before I knew it, was flying to North Carolina being handed a custom uniform, all before even knowing what I actually just signed up for. I didn't even know if there was a prize for the winner at this point. Walking into the green room, I was expecting to not know anyone, but to my relief, I saw a lot of familiar faces. I even used this time to ask MatPat what it was like to meet Scott Cawthorn, and he told me FNAF secrets. So already this trip was more than worth it. Eventually, we were herded down a long, mysterious hallway until we saw it. The Mr. Beast cube. After everyone was filed inside, we were told the last person to leave the cube would be deemed the winner. And also win $1 million for their subscribers. This is for $1 million? The challenge began. Immediately, people started jumping in the giant pile of real money that was inside, throwing handfuls of bills in the air, laughing, mingling. To pass the time, James and I drew our cartoon characters out of dollar bills on the floor. The staff came in and ended up giving everyone their own personal vlog camera to document their POV of the challenge. And I think I genuinely was the only person who didn't record a single second of footage on that thing. I just thought, I'm not gonna use this footage because I'm not going to make a video out of it, and they're going to have plenty of other people's footage to use. In hindsight, maybe it would have been a good idea to record something, just in case. I don't know, maybe the Mr. Beast team would end up actually wanting to use some of my footage. Who's to say? After maybe an hour or two, Jimmy came out for the first bonus challenge. A single free throw. Miss and you're eliminated, but make it, and not only do you get to come back into the cube, you also win a Cybertruck for one of your subscribers. They had 50 people subscribers just in a room waiting for something to happen. I'll be honest, when Jimmy explained the extra credit challenge, I was like, hell no, I'm not going up to miss a free throw and leave immediately after nothing's happened yet. If my subscriber back there knew what was going on, they 100% would have understood they weren't getting called up for nothing. If I remember correctly, maybe 2 people ended up making their baskets and 3 people were eliminated. I could be wrong. I don't remember because I didn't vlog it. While chatting with friends, Ludwig walked up and asked if I wanted to do a dice bet. With nothing else to do, I agreed. And to no one's surprise, I lost. And an evil expression washed over Ludwig's face. Alright, since you lost, I want you to walk up to Kai Sanat and introduce yourself with, "Hi Kai, I'm Jaiden. So which of my videos have you seen?" Maybe I should have just missed a free throw. "Hey Kai, there's someone I want you to meet." "Hey man, I'm Jaiden. Nice to meet you. So, which of my videos have you seen?" Excuse me? Holy shit, I'm gonna kill myself. "Oh, so which of my videos have you seen?" "Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't seen any, I don't think." "Ha! That's okay. Nice meeting you, bye." Kai was super chill and nice about it, but oh my god, I wanted to rip my skin off. I'm stuck in this cube with him until further notice, and it's all Ludwig's fault with his stupid dice. I hate it in here, let me out! Oh, hi Jimmy. We were told to gather up in groups of 5, designating one as a team captain who will have immunity for the next challenge. I was with James, Schlatt, Ludwig, and Charlie Moist Critical, using the dice to choose the captain. This time, I actually rolled highest, but reassigned it to Ludwig because I couldn't cope with the idea of possibly being responsible for a teammate's elimination. And then it was revealed captains would just have to assign their teammates a shape for the Squid Game Honeycomb Challenge. Okay. Well, I definitely overthought that one. I had triangle, James got circle, Charlie was star, and Schlatt unfortunately got umbrella. The 10-minute timer began, and everyone started deploying various different strategies to get their cookie shape out. Charlie used a new technique called huck as much spit as you can into the tin to dissolve it all. It was really gross. He ended up filling the tin almost to the top with spit. By the end, 2 people with stars were eliminated, and not a single umbrella made it through. Bye, Schlatt. It was very funny seeing Mr. Beast lift the lid off Charlie's tin and immediately reel back in disgust, though. A total of 14 out of 50 people have now been eliminated, leaving 36 people. Honestly, that was good enough for me. Losing at any point going forward was already further than I was anticipating. We were fed our little thing of rations and left to wait again. It probably doesn't seem like long in Mr. Beast's video, but it was like 9 p.m. by the time we began the second real challenge. After being directed to choose a partner, James and I shook hands, ready to take on the next game as a team, and froze as it was revealed we had just chosen our own opponent. Another Squid Game tactic. I probably should have seen it coming, I just didn't expect the double up. The Beast staff revealed the next challenge as they rolled in a giant Jenga tower. Winner stays, loser walks. Unfortunately, the very first game of giant Jenga between KSI and AJ ended up taking literally 2 hours. Doing the math in our heads, we all kind of figured we probably didn't have the time to play Jenga for the next 30 hours. But just as AJ won, KSI hoisted him over his shoulders and ran out of the cube. No! Huge drama! Everyone was freaking out. AJ was stunned. No one knew what to do. Was that legal? Can you just carry people out of the cube? Jimmy had everyone take a vote, and pretty much everyone opted to bring AJ back in. Yes, out of the kindness of our hearts, but also out of fear of being manhandled. So since giant Jenga was a bust, production ended up scrambling to try and find like 12 sets of normal Jenga at midnight in North Carolina. A feat that seems impossible, but I feel like Jimmy could just call up the president of Jenga and have it all delivered via helicopter within 30 minutes. It took a bit, but the slightly larger than normal, yet still reasonably sized Jenga towers were all set up. As our game was going on, James and I ended up making a pact that whoever was eliminated would relay to the outside world that the other was okay, because we didn't have our phones, by the way. Our friends only knew we were in the Mr. Beast cube and haven't responded for 14 hours. Our game of Jenga was pretty intense. Eventually it got to the point where as I was watching James pull out a final piece, I realized there wasn't any left for me to safely remove. I'm about to be eliminated. And a flash of bliss washed over me. Sure, I'll be gone, but that's okay. I'll be set free into the outside world again. The cube is harsh, unforgiving. It's taken so many of my friends from me. The glass floor is hurting my butt. I'm ready to go now. And deeper into the trenches I went. James being eliminated meant I was moving on to Cube Day 2. What a miracle. Watching the rest of the Jenga games was like watching an active war zone. People were focusing, cheering, sweating, praying. Towers were falling one after the other at the feet of now eliminated players. It was brutal. And also still taking way too damn long, man. Can I go to bed? The last game left to finish was between Quackity and a popular Brazilian creator, Enaldino. Apparently, when it was revealed the challenge was Jenga, Enaldino turned to Quackity and admitted he was a Jenga pro. Quackity had never played. Not the situation you want to be in. Quackity half-jokingly asked Enaldino if he wanted to play rock, paper, scissors instead, to which he replied, no. Which, you know, fair. But 3 hours into this single game, the two of them were neck and neck. Genuinely the most cracked round of Jenga possibly ever. Everyone in the cube was gathered around watching Quackity slowly pulling out the very last piece in this skeleton of a Jenga tower. Just as he was about to make it, Enaldino asked, rock, paper, scissors? Quackity looked up at him.
Muito tarde.
It was over. Enaldino tried to hang in there, but in the end, he fell. 18 people were now eliminated. Alright, it's 3 a.m. Let's go to bed. I genuinely thought they would let us go back to our hotel rooms for the night, but... Man, now this is just great. I won myself a ticket to a night in the Mr. Beast cube, sleeping next to a bunch of people I barely know, and I was probably just gonna get eliminated first thing in the morning anyway. As I was getting ready for bed, Kai walked by. Hey, I gotta check out your videos sometime. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I lost a bet to Ludwig and he made me say that. Oh, shit. Okay, damn.
Oh, well, that makes falling asleep a bit easier. Thank God he only thought I had a huge ego for 19 hours straight. Crisis averted. In the morning, production had to prep for filming again, which meant they turned on every single light in the building, flash banging all of us. They were turned off, and then these loud ass brrrr sounds from construction started blasting. They turned the lights on again a few minutes later, but this time in a crazy strobe light effect for some reason. After breakfast rations, Jimmy returned, pointed to the entrance hallway, and in walks I Show Speed. With too much energy for a group of people that just had the weirdest sleep of their lives. Alright, you guys have the chance to vote Speed into the cube to join you in challenges. The kind thing to do was to let him in, but we all just survived trenches no one could even understand. We were trauma bonded together. And also, it wouldn't be fair. The majority of us moved to the voting side of no. Admittedly, me too. Mainly because I was a bit scared of him. Speed looked at Kai. At least shake my hand, man. You're gonna pull me out. As the two of them argued about a friendly handshake, Ludwig stepped up. I'll shake your hand, Speed. His hand now extended to Ludwig. The moment their hands touched, Speed started yanking Ludwig towards the outside world. We all started screaming and panicking. We couldn't lose one of our cute brothers like this. Ludwig was holding onto the support beam for dear life. Some of the guys managed to pull him back in, and as Speed walked out, unable to take any souls with him, he exclaimed, "This ain't the last time you're gonna see me, and I remember all y'all's faces." Alright, let's get started. Challenge 3 was steal or no steal. Basically a modified version of deal or no deal. Some cases have the word safe in them, others say eliminated. One person looks inside a selected case, and the other decides whether they want to steal it or no steal it. And also Howie Mandel was there. Hi Howie, big fan. People started getting eliminated one by one, others securing safety. Eventually, Ludwig was up at the podium asking if anyone wanted to volunteer to go up. At this point, the ratio of safe cases was very high, 60% in favor of safe. Figuring the odds would just get messier from there, I volunteered. Ludwig looked inside his chosen case, looked up, and told me it was safe. I knew mathematically I should steal the case, but I've been burned by math before. As I started hesitantly saying I was gonna steal, Mr. B suddenly burst out saying Ludwig's heart rate was spiking. By the way, he was wearing a heart rate monitor, which made me scared it was actually an elimination case, and he was excited at the idea of avoiding going home. So last minute, I decided to let him keep the case. It was the safest play. If it said eliminated, then good, I dodged a bullet. If it was safe, then at least I'm not actually eliminated yet. I just have to play again. Shit. It was now my turn to bring someone up. Even though I didn't want to pick a friend out of fear of getting them eliminated, more than that, I didn't want to be up there with someone I didn't know. I picked Quackity. He came up to the podium. I grabbed case number 2. It says safe. My plan was to tell the truth, but in the most unconfident and nervous way possible. I was deploying every bit of body language knowledge I could think of, making myself look as guilty as possible as he asked me various questions. We went back and forth for a bit until your eyes looked down as you said the case was safe, which indicates guilt. So I think you're lying. I'm not gonna steal it. Without a word, I shifted the case onto its back, unlatched it. Safe. It was worth sleeping in the cube! Oh my god, the relief, you have no idea. After everything finished, a bunch of people walked out, and unfortunately, Quackity ended up being one of them. 10 people left. I know it's a dog-eat-dog world inside the cube, but when you're left to sit with your fellow contestants for hours on end between challenges, waiting for Jimmy Beast to send you all through another round of cube stress, you really start bonding with the survivors. It was pretty sad watching them go. Hours passed until the Jimmy death bell struck again, and we were told to partner up once more. Alex and I had really gotten to chat and hang out together as the only girls left at this point, so we paired up. Everyone was blindfolded and told to sit tight until they were ready, which is ominous. The two of us were strategizing and figuring out each other's strengths and weaknesses for whatever was coming our way, only to be unblindfolded and see the entire cube transformed into a kitchen. It was a cooking battle. we're actually fucked. What? Alex started panicking, saying she can't cook for her life. We were freaking out. Then Mr. Beast brought out the judges. Professional competitive eater Joey Chestnut, Miranda Cosgrove, hi big fan, and Speed. Bottom 2 teams are eliminated. Time starts now. We ended up committing to mac and cheese with a slice of chocolate cake, under the fancier title of American Comfort Food. AKA the only 2 women left in the challenge can't cook and they're trying their fucking best. The judges walked around to check in on everyone, and eventually Speed was at our station. So when you all were voting to let me in, which side were you on? Well, originally we were on the side of no, because we were a bit intimidated, but we ended up switching to a yes at the last minute. Right, Jaiden? Yeah, I switched. Alright, cool. 'Cause you know I don't forget, right? Yep. Later on, during the challenge, Mac and Nolan from the Beast team came up to ask what we were making. At the time, I was grating up Feastables to sprinkle onto our cake for decoration, and I thought, oh, it would be funny to have them ask what we're making, and it's just their own brand of chocolate. So I was like, close your eyes and open your mouth, and gave Mac a piece of chocolate, and immediately, without chewing, he was like, is this Feastables? And I was like, yeah. And he kind of stood there for a second with his mouth still open, and Nolan was like, oh, he's allergic. And they both had to leave. Oh my god, guys, I felt so bad. I apologized so much when he came back. Max said it was fine and is a good sport about it, but I still have so much guilt about being such an idiot. Ludwig and Amixem presented first with their fried chicken and asparagus dish. The judges all really enjoyed it, giving them a total of 26 points, which is really unfortunate because I definitely thought Speed was gonna hold a bigger grudge against Ludwig and tank their score. We were up next, and thankfully they really liked our food too. Joey was the first to score us and ended up giving us a 10 out of 10. And in the moment, as a joke, I wanted to turn around and flip off Ludwig as a, friendly fake gloat, but I accidentally turned around and flipped off Amixem, and I felt so bad again. He was not the intended target, and now I was just being rude, and this challenge was going horribly. Not because of the cooking part. I've just been nonstop fumbling socially. We also got a total of 26, putting us at a tie with the French boys. But now, Logan Paul and Nick DiGiovanni were presenting. And I haven't mentioned it yet, but Nick is actually a goddamn chef. They even gave us all his own cookbooks as a helpful tip for the challenge, which is just a knife twist in my opinion. So yeah, they knocked it out of the park, got a 29. The judges were licking their plates. After them was Kai and AJ, who had a great presentation, but their food, not so much. They got a 16. After eating, Speed got up and started smashing the plates on the ground, and Logan Paul saw this and got really excited because he wanted to smash plates too. Without thinking, he ran out to join Speed, and we all shouted at him in panic. Confused at the sudden change in the air, Logan looked back at us before realizing he left the cube. To this day, none of us are truly sure if he did it for the content or it was a genuine accident. In his defense, the set was so cosmetically different that it really did feel like we weren't in the cube anymore. Either way, he content created too close to the sun, and even though he had a guaranteed spot in the finals, he was eliminated. The last team of Rubius and Spriter went up with their Spanish tortilla, but turns out Spriter is a huge fan of Speed, so he made a special Thai dessert just for him that the other judges weren't allowed to eat, which is honestly hilarious. We all held our breath as the judges flipped through their scores. 22. Alex and I made it to the finals. I never in my life thought I was gonna be getting this far, and suddenly realized I need to actually think about what I would do if I won. I went into this thing not even knowing if there was a prize at all, and was now facing the reality that I could win the whole thing. Hours passed as the 5 of us sat together in the cube until Mr. Beast emerged for the final time. Someone was about to win $1 million for their subscribers, and it all came down to this last challenge. Honestly, among the group, there wasn't a single person I thought didn't deserve to win. Everyone left were good people who all wanted to do something really positive with the money. It was great getting to know them all over the course of 2 cube days, and I was really proud to be standing next to them in the finals. 5 briefcases were piled in the center, 1 for each finalist. We were to each take one, peek inside our chosen case, and within the next 10 minutes, discuss who to vote out. If your voted out and your briefcase is empty, you're eliminated. But if you're voted out and your case has the $1 million inside, you win instantly. It was basically like reverse Among Us. The first round started, we all grabbed a case, peeked inside. Holy shit, I grabbed the $1 million case round one. I started shaking. I didn't know what strategy to use. I didn't know how to make myself look like I should be voted out. And during the discussion time, it definitely showed because I was really quiet and nervous the whole time. The 10-minute discussion wrapped up. We all unanimously wrote our votes down, and it fell into a tie between voting out Ludwig and somehow me. It could end right here. We had a few minutes to discuss again and recast votes, but Alex and Nick were able to figure out I voted for myself, so Ludwig was eliminated. The cases were reshuffled. We each grabbed one. I pulled it again. In that moment, I froze. Since I was in the hot seat last round, I was probably gonna fly pretty under the radar this time. Someone else is gonna be voted out, and I statistically will not see this case ever again. If I'm not voted out here, I basically lose. The second round began, and it was pretty much a blur from there. I was trying to talk more because being quiet last round got me found out, but was still flying too under the radar. Amidst trying to keep up with the conversation, strategize, and hold myself together, I couldn't find my win con. But with a few minutes left, Amixem said something that I think shifted the entire game. What are the odds Jaiden pulled the $1 million case twice? There it was. Gambler's fallacy, save me. Save me, gambler's fallacy. I couldn't mess this up. I don't know what to say to that one. Everyone's attention was now on me, and I could tell they were all thinking about what was just thrown into the ring. We all looked down at our papers. I wrote my name as quietly as possible, worrying the sound of the letters were gonna out me. Jimmy read them all out. Jaiden. Alex. Jaiden. Jaiden. They voted me out. I slowly walked to the middle of the podium with my briefcase. In that moment, I was the only one who knew what had just happened. Everyone leaned in as I unlatched the case and revealed the $1 million. I won! Confetti cannons blasted. Everyone immediately started congratulating me. All the eliminated contestants left in the green room ran out screaming and jumping around me in celebration. I started to tear up for some stupid emotional reason. So yeah, I won $1 million to give away to my subscribers. That is a Looney Tunes amount of money. First of all, top 5 all agreed that whoever won the $1 million would give the other 4 $100K each to do something for their subscribers too. So a total of $400K will be going to Ludwig, Alex Botez, Amixem, and Nick DeGiovanni. With the remaining $600K, I decided to put it towards paying for as many people's art degrees as possible. It's really scary going into the art field right now between the animation industry hitting their rough patches, AI threatening to take artist jobs. The overall career path is extremely intimidating and difficult to break into. I'd really like to encourage and make it easier for some of the up-and-coming artists by being able to send them through art school stress-free. I have no idea how to set it all up, but I'm currently working with as many qualified people as I have available to me to make it happen. As my and Mr. Beast's team figures it out, I'll keep you all updated through my Twitter. We'll get it sorted. I entered the Mr. Beast cube ready to just talk to my friends and screw up in the first challenge, but instead I was isolated from the world for 48 hours, watched my peers fall one by one in front of me, and left with $1 million for my subscribers. Thank you, Carl, for inviting me. Thank you to all my friends who made the cube so much more enjoyable. Thank you, Mr. Beast, for creating this incredible opportunity I can now use to support artists. Despite being put through cube trenches, I had a really great time. And of course, huge thanks to the Beast crew for making it all happen. It was something I'll never forget or experience ever again. Hopefully.
If you're an artist currently enrolled in art school and are hoping to have some of your tuition paid for with the cube winnings, you can now apply through the form I'll have linked in the description and the comments of this video. The form will be available for a week starting the day this video is uploaded, so be sure to check the calendar and apply before it's closed. I assume there's gonna be a huge amount of applications we have to go through, so expect a few months wait before we announce the winners. Thank you for your patience. I'm not sure how many people we can financially help out because everyone's tuition will be vastly different, but I'm looking forward to going through your portfolios and hearing your stories. Thanks for watching, and thank you to my team for dropping everything to work on this sudden video jump scare. Alright, until next time, bye-bye. I've played a lot of Pokemon in my days, and by that, I mean I've played the same Pokemon game with various different skins. But I'm here today to showcase one of, if not the most unique ideas for a Pokemon game Nintendo has published for our tiny little hearts. And that game is called Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. XD. A bit unfortunate, but it came out in 2005, so they get a pass. Why am I talking about it? I think it's an underground game not enough people know about. It does something different, kind of shakes up the formula. It's constantly overshadowed by its predecessor, Pokemon Coliseum. And yeah, okay, I played it as a kid. I'm very biased. Is that what you wanted? If you've not heard of it or played it, you're in for a treat today. The game opens up to a cargo boat, the SS Libra, out at sea, where we find the captain and guy who steers standing at the helm. All is calm and serene when suddenly they get swatted. And it's not no ordinary SWAT today, folks. No, sir. This is a Lugia SWAT. They run out to see what's going on, and the captain looks up and makes this face as if he wants to kiss Lugia passionately on the lips. But Lugia's not here for kisses. He's here for the opposite of kisses, which is crime. He hyper beams the cargo ship and then steals it. You heard me right. Just blasts the thing point blank and takes it away. Lugia's ship now. The presumably only 2 people on the entire boat fall into the water and are left to just drown in the ocean, I guess. Well, that was a bit raw. What are we, a minute in and 2 people are dead? Gen 10 could never. Hard cut to me because that's more important. You play as this boy kid named Michael, but actually his name is Jaiden now because that's me. The game throws you into the middle of this intense looking fight between a Salamence and Metagross, both level 50. I don't know where I am, what the stakes are, who I am, but this battle seems really important and tough, so I'm gonna give it my all and immediately OHKO it. I did it! Screen goes black. I open my eyes, everything's blurry. Wake up, Jaiden, you've been in a coma for 15 years. Turns out I live in a friendly laboratory run by this Professor Crane and his lab guys. I get up and the guy running the battle simulation tells me how good of a battler I've become. Aw, thanks, man. Then he immediately negs me by telling me it's about time I go out and get myself more Pokemon besides my one lame Eevee. Backhanded compliment at a child, but I'll take it, I think. I go into Crane's office where him and my mom are talking, and he says he heard from the battle coach that my battling skills have improved dramatically, and how proud he is of me. To which my own mom tells him to stop giving me compliments and praise because I'm gonna end up spoiled rotten. I don't know what kind of a response that is to a child receiving praise. Either I'm already a cocky little bastard, or I'm being currently emotionally neglected by everyone in this building. Whatever it is, I don't think it's healthy for my mental development. To make this mother look even worse, we realize her only other child, Jovi, is missing and no one is looking for her. The world is only filled with overpowered wild rabbit animals and crazy people. No, I'm sure it's fine you haven't started looking for her. Keep doing what you're doing. I get a lead saying she really likes hanging out with family friend mad scientist Dr. Kaminko, so I head over to his house and I'm about to knock on his creepy door when this tiny little blind man, Chobin, the doctor's assistant, walks up and is like, "Burglar!" and challenges me to a battle, to which I win because he only has a level 5 Sunkern. Jovi comes out and is like, "Oh, hi, big brother, it's Jovi. Did you get lost, big brother? Silly big brother, Jovi will guide you back home." Alright, I see why no one was looking for her now. We return home to the lab and they present me with a snag machine. A machine that allows the user to catch shadow Pokemon, which are Pokemon that have been so abused that they turn evil. Now, they're saying they haven't seen or heard of any shadow Pokemon that exist anymore because they've all been purified years ago. But who knows when they could start popping up again? Better be safe than sorry. Bam! Some guys from a secret organization called Cypher bust into the lab, beat everyone up, steal Professor Crane, show off their shadow Pokemon, and run off to their secret base to never be seen again. Well, I'll be. The lab is in shambles, not knowing what to do, but then decides they're gonna complete their purification chamber in his honor because shadow Pokemon are back and they want to do something about it. They send me off to this seaside town, Gadionport, to retrieve a machine part they need, and Jovi pesters our mom to come with because Jovi doesn't think I can handle going out on my own, and Jovi needs to hold my hand and guide her big brother the whole way. Okay, not only does this little snot talk in the third person for no reason, maybe our mom didn't care enough to get us any education. Perhaps she was worried the teacher would give us a compliment, heaven forbid. But she's also the most annoying character I've ever witnessed in any media, and I've watched an episode of My Hero Academia with a grape kid in it. We go to Gadionport, and not 2 seconds pass until Jovi pisses off this random guy, Zook, who happens to be the buffest man in the world. He's about to punt her, and I'm about to do nothing about it, when this old man and his color-coded henchmen step in and obliterate his Shadow Zangoose. Old man, I was about to be free of everything that is bad in my life, and you took that away from me. We get the part, head back, and Mom tells me about this spot in Agate Village called the Relic Stone where you can naturally purify Pokemon. I don't know why you're making your own purifying chamber then when there's a rock that already does that. I go to Agate, and this very enthusiastic man with a Pikachu shows me the stone, and I'm like, cool. To which he's like, by the way, my friend Vander might know where Cypher took Crane. Oh, okay. I go talk to Vander and he points to this random spot in the desert on my map and is like, oh, they're right here. I saw them. What were you doing out there? That's literally just sand. Wow, would you look at that? A headquarters. Huh. I start infiltrating the base, battling all the grunts that fall from the ceiling, snagging any shadow Pokemon I find, until I reach Pink Hatsune Miku, who's trying to get information out of Crane about purifying shadow Pokemon. I battle her and win, which means I get to unkidnap him, and while heading out, I find this data ROM on the ground. Huh. This seems very important and like it has a lot of secret information about Cypher on it. Convenient. Brain returns to the lab and everyone's happy, and then they send me to Pyrite Town to find Net, a guy that should be able to crack the ROM and access all the information on it. So I head there and he's like, yeah, we can crack this, smile. While he's hacking it, I go out and play around in a random cave and run into Mirror B. This guy doesn't do much in this game, honestly, but I just want to make sure you know he exists and listen to his music. I go check on Ned again, and Cypher's busted and beat everyone up and kidnapped another person. Have you guys min-maxed how to kidnap people or something? You're 2 for 2 at this point, and are scarily efficient at it. They tried a hostage situation the data ROM back, and even though I beat up this big man and take all his shadow Pokemon, Ned still wusses out and gives the ROM back. He thought he was being 2 steps ahead because he saved all the information on his server already, but Cypher just logs on and deletes everything anyway. Net says the only thing he remembers from the ROM was that Cypher was behind the disappearance of the SS Libra, and they're about to attack this city nearby called Fennec, and someone needs to go warn them. I guess I'm just Mr. Scooter across the desert and save everyone today, aren't I? I head to Fennec to warn the mayor about the attack, and as soon as I arrive, this lady hits me with a confetti cannon, congratulates me on being the 1,000,000th visitor to the city, and shoos me away to celebrate at Real Gam Tower. I try to get around her because this is important, but she's determined to gatekeep me no matter what I do. So I just go there and realize she literally sent a child to illegally gamble his life away. Wow! No one in this region likes children, do they? After not being able to figure out how to play bingo, I head back, sneak into the mayor's house, distract his house sitter with music, and find out the mayor was trying to write a note to Justy, the city's gym leader, warning him about the Cypher attack. I don't know why the mayor was trying to ask this random gym guy to help, but he was kidnapped halfway through writing it, so I guess it doesn't matter. Cypher realizes I now know what's up, and everyone in town reveals themselves to be disguised Cypher grunts. Oh my god, they kidnapped the entire town. I don't care what kind of organization you're from. If you can successfully kidnap a village, you've earned my respect. I beat up Cypher, rescue their shadow Pokemon, and free literally everyone in the town who is locked in the city basement. Justy says he saw something suspicious going on in the desert and points to another random sand spot on my map I should go investigate. Honestly, How are all these people just stumbling onto these shenanigans in the middle of the desert? And why are they able to give the latitude, longitude of these locations after finding them? This has got to be like tens of miles out from any sort of civilization. This is where people run out of gas in their car and then shrivel up and die before anyone can find them. Why were you here? Wow. Yep, that's the cargo ship. How did you find this? Alright, what is so enthralling about this desert that crime and vigilante justice is constantly going on in every square inch of this place? Cypher's running around on the ship, and after I take their shadow Pokemon and chase them out, this group of strangers calling themselves Team Snag'em walks up and roofies me. I wake up, realize they stole my snag machine. This random old man who just started living in the wrecked boat said he saw them head off in that direction and points to the middle of nowhere on my map again. You people are beyond me. I show up and wow, another headquarters for crime. I make my way to their head honcho, Gonzap, who's trying to put on my snag machine, but he's too big and muscular and adult, and since I am a child, it does not fit on his giant muscle arm. He pretty much gives up, asks if I want to join Team Snag'em. I say yes, but he fights me anyway. And after I beat him, he's like, actually, you can have your arm thing back. We're not enemies. Awesome. So why am I here? You drugged me, stole my stuff, and then just called friendship and gave it back. I find Cypher's Shadow Pokemon Factory and walk up to the actual biggest men I've ever seen in the world. How naive I was to think Zook was big. Foolish me. Anyway, they're about to beat me TF up when Gonzap shows up, expresses his devotion to our newly blossoming friendship, and roofies them for me. Thanks, man. You're really consistent at that. I go inside and climb to the roof where their power generator is. There's a tiny little piece of paper there that says, use system lever to adjust voltage. Do not raise voltage too high. Crank! A guy comes out and starts yelling at me with his Pokemon when the tiny old man who accidentally ruined my life in Port comes on screen and is like, I'm evil and creating a Pokemon that's unpurifiable! Come get me! This is my IP address! I need to cross the ocean to get to him because he's basically on evil Hawaii. So I take this Robo-Kyogre from Kaminko, speedboat my way there, and you guessed it, fight everyone in the building/volcano until I get to the big little man. After fighting an entire country's worth of people, I find him. His name's Greevil, by the way. And he's like, I'm surprised you made it this far. Ha 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 ha. Well, I'm busy, don't bother me. And blocks me with a giant pane of glass. Honestly, out of all the fictional villains I've seen, this is surprisingly decently reasonable. But I'm not gonna just sit here and stare at him behind the glass like a goldfish at PetSmart. So I just walk around and use the side door, which really sets him off. I mean, dude, either lock the door or don't have it. This is just what doors do. Greevil's like, you blew up our Shadow Pokemon Factory, you got past my glass. That's it. I'm summoning Shadow Lugia, the first Pokemon to ever be unpurifiable. Come forth and obliterate this small boy. To which I just Master Ball it. Really overlooked that one, didn't you, mate? He may not be purifiable, but he's mine now. Huge L. Greevil gets so beyond pissed that he decides to open his creepy eyes and fight me himself. And I was surprised to realize not only does he have a team of all Shadow Pokemon, but he somehow nabbed Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. I'll be honest, it was a really hard fight because Shadow Pokemon are super effective against all non-Shadow Pokemon. I don't know how it took me this long to tell you that, but that's how it works. So instead of trying to catch them all like I've been doing this whole time, I really just beat them up and they ran away. So I win! Cypher has officially lost everything, and it's all because of me, the little boy. Blue henchman runs up to Greevil and is like, Sir, I have a plan. Let's blow up the island with the kid on it. Which is like, oh my god. And then red henchman is like, okay, that's a bit too far, man. Dad, let's go home. Yeah, they pulled the I'm your father/son twist on us, but it has very little effect on me because I do not care about these people. Anyway, they decide to not blow up the island with me on it and stop being evil, I think. I'm like 60% sure. And then happy ending, I just go home. So what do you think? For some reason, I really liked the game as a kid. I never actually beat it because I didn't know how to get past the gatekeeping woman and Fennec. glad I figured it out this time. I also wanted to mention how lively the animations are in this game. Sure, some of the Pokemon look god-awful. They gave Houndour human knees that bend forward, but they're all just so expressive and show so much care and personality. It made me pretty sad the current games don't show this much passion, but I guess that's just what makes these games more cherishable. Anyway, the game was fun and weird. I liked it. See ya.
Hey, it's been a while. Anyway, this game also is like all double battles, and I thought that was really interesting. I'd like that to happen again in a new game. Nothing else really to say. Can't believe the queen's dead.
Remember when Pokemon sent me every single one of their Gen 5 sitting cuties for me to rank? Turns out they really liked that video. So much, in fact, that they said, "Hey Jaiden, awesome video. Why don't you come to Japan to watch the Pokemon 2023 World Championships?" Our treat. You won't have to pay for your flights or hotel or nothing. I've been to Japan once before in my entire life, and it was back in 2018 with my family. We did a bunch of fun little Japanese tourist things. It was a phenomenal trip, but ever since then, I've always wanted to go back and do all the awesome nerdy stuff Japan has to offer that I didn't want to bother my family with. At the time, they didn't even know who Luffy was. They would have been so lost. So when Pokemon extended their hand and offered to fly not only me, but Jacob out to attend the biggest Pokemon tournament in the world, I jumped for joy. Free trip to Japan! The tournament was only going on for a single weekend, but Jacob and I planned to stay there for 3 whole weeks to do a bunch of said extra nerdy stuff. We were pumped. Eventually the time came, Jacob and I were packing up all our stuff, and decided we both would bring an extra suitcase so we could treat ourselves a bit and buy a bunch of cool stuff while we're there. Don't judge us, we're anime and Nintendo loving impulse buyers going to Japan. A game plan was needed. We were being responsible. 2 extra suitcases was definitely gonna be enough. Yep. Equipped with our extra luggage, we headed off to the airport. Pokemon straight up gave us business class seats. We didn't ask for them or anything. So when we boarded, we realized we had the seats where you could lay down. There even was some sort of seat divider that acted like a car window, so I could roll it down and bother Jacob whenever I wanted. Quick little 11-hour flight later, and we were in Japan. It was time to have the best trip of our lives. I'm not joking. I had the most incredible trip and got to do things I won't ever forget. And I won't, because I've now plastered it onto the internet forever. We landed midday Japan time, so we decided to go to the first thing we wanted to see while abroad. Japanese McDonald's. I couldn't order anything except fries, but Jacob and I both dropped our jaws when we saw something called the Double Big Mac on the menu. I thought Americans already went big with the Big Mac, but Japan did the impossible, just to send a message. What a magical place. Let's begin with the next morning. Pokemon planned a bunch of cool stuff for the creators and partners they flew out, beginning with a group field trip to the Mega Tokyo Pokemon Center. Jacob and I woke up early for it and missed the bus they had for us. And it totally wasn't completely my fault entirely, because I hypothetically didn't read the schedule correctly and was taking my sweet time getting ready. Why would you think that? So we had to take the trains on our own to get there. Anyone that remembers my first Japan trip knows the trains were me and my family's mortal enemy number 1. We kept getting it wrong, and it was failure after failure the entire trip. You'd think that with all that prior experience and struggle, I would have grown as a Japanese train understander, right? Nope, we got on the wrong train. But at least we were having a good time, haha. After a lot of freaking out and mental strain and regrets, we finally arrived at our destination, and although by the time we got there they had already finished looking at the Pokemon Center, we were able to grab a quick snack with the group at the Pokemon Sweets Cafe. I meant to take a picture of the Pikachu waffle before I ate half its cranium, but I forgot, so this is what you get. Now that we were with the group, we were able to travel with them for the rest of the day, so we packed into the bus and headed off to a traditional tea ceremony where we were taught all about how the tea masters would make tea and tea etiquette, and all these things about the significance of tea in Japanese culture, all while getting to taste the tea master made. Again, I meant to take this picture before I took a chunk out of the little sweet they gave us, but here we are yet again. I'm just not that great at this. They also served us a really special lunch of super fancy bento boxes, like so fancy that the host was like, dude, I've never even had these bento boxes before. I was super excited, but I don't mean to be ungrateful or wasteful, but the box was full of super fancy, complicated fish and seafood. I knew going to Japan I'd have to be flexible with food because it's really hard to be vegan or even vegetarian there, so I really tried to eat as much as possible and look thankful. But yeah, I struggled a lot. But I still had a great time and it was an honor. We were dropped off at the Yokohama Chinatown and left to explore a bit until dinner in a few hours. Everyone separated into groups and Jacob, Stefan, the guy that sent me all the sitting cuties, you guys remember him, the guy named Steve, and I went and pursued the street food a bit before stumbling into a little arcade with a bunch of crane machines. I got this silly little bear minifigure. His name is Chico, so I decided to innocently carry him around in my pocket for the entirety of the trip. You know, because he was silly. This single action severely changed the course of my mental stability going forward. You'll see soon enough. But look at these cute photos I got with them. We had a great dinner, headed back to the hotel, got to hang out with our good old Pokemon rival Jan a bit, and called it a night. The next day we all got to do some private shopping at the Pokemon World's pop-up shop. I'll just say we bought way too much stuff that we also don't regret in the slightest. I even got this video of Jacob grabbing more and more sitting cuties as the workers kept reorganizing them to keep the display looking perfect. We walked out of there with 3 giant bags of stuff. But it's okay because remember, we anticipated this with our extra suitcases, which I am starting to wonder if they are going to be enough, but surely we will come down. We were then all taken to the creatures' offices. You know, just the place where they make Pokemon cards. It was gorgeous in there. They had these awesome sculptures of giant Pokemon cards with crystals, and all the walls were lined with 3D card art. It felt like I was in a building with a lot of significance. Because I was. We got a tour around the building, met the TCG card testers, and were able to ask them questions about the process. Even got to have a little Q&A session with Atsushi Nagashima, the game director of the Pokemon TCG. It was funny, one of the people in our group asked how they chose which Pokemon to make cards for. A good question. And then followed it up with, I really like Mantike, but there's only 2 Mantike cards that exist. And the assistant pulled up a list of all the Pokemon Mantike cards that have ever been created. And sure enough, there were only 2. The director chuckled and was essentially like, yeah, sometimes Pokemon get lost in the cracks. We kind of just make cards of Pokemon I like. For example, my favorite Pokemon is Gengar. And you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. Also, we were able to have a Q&A session with the Pokemon card art director and 3 artists who actually draw art for the cards. That was super interesting, and I was so incredibly inspired by that discussion. But you know those Pokemon cards with the super cute clay art? That artist's name is Yuka Mori, and she was in that panel. I was so starstruck. Those are some of my favorite Pokemon cards. And not only that, but she hosted a little workshop for us where she gave us clay and taught us how to make little clay Magnemites like in this card here. Speaking of this card, she brought the actual original Magnemite for us to see. That was by far the coolest thing that I've ever gotten to be a part of. We got to meet a piece of genuine history. I felt like I was meeting the president. Also, here's me and Jacob's Magnemites that we made. Day 3 of our little Pokemon field trip, and we were taken to another Pokemon Center. This time in Shibuya, which was also right across from a Nintendo store. It was like a bullet was shot through our credit cards. In the shopping center, I saw a little gacha machine with little miniature Chiikawa plushes. I was only interested in getting Chiikawa, but I decided to test my luck anyway. And I got him first try! Now I had 2 of them. Yes, the original was still in my pocket. You can safely assume he is in my pocket for the entirety of this video. I've got pictures to prove it. Jacob snapped this awesome picture of the Chiikawa brain rot taking over. When we were looking around in the Shonen Jump shop, a little Japanese boy pointed at Jacob and went, Sanji-san, before his mother quickly yanked him away, and I still to this day laugh at that interaction. Poor kid saw his first blonde guy in real life and immediately thought it was Sanji. Later that day, we also got to attend the Pokemon Symphony, where a live orchestra played Pokemon songs, and it was absolutely incredible. Video game orchestras are so cool. It always tugs on my heartstrings to see video game music transformed into such a beautiful new art form. Highly recommend attending one if you have any favorite games or franchises. On to the first day of Worlds. It was exciting. People flooded into the venue. We watched the opening ceremony in the crowd. Just wow. This is the whole reason why we're here. We went back to shopping. Look at this cute little Chiikawa book I found in a nearby bookstore. At this point, we were absolutely pushing it in terms of luggage space, and we were day 4 into a 2.5-week trip. Our shopping sprees until this point were very not frugal. So we cut our losses and bought 2 extra giant suitcases to fit everything better. Okay, we knew we were gonna need extra suitcases. Getting a few extra couldn't hurt. Look, the flights were paid for. We were still saving money at this point, I think. That's my rationalization. I'm going with that. Also in the mall were tons of Pokemon monitors straight up playing the World Championships. TCG, Pokemon Go, VGC. Japan treated Worlds like it was the Super Bowl. And it was just so cool to see one of my main interests so culturally celebrated. People of all ages would stop by to watch for a bit before going back to their shopping. I can't explain it, but it just made me very happy. We even got to see Wolfie live on the monitors. How'd he do? He did great. Don't worry about it. Nothing happened. Look, we were just happy to see our friend on the Pokeball screen. Proud of you, Wolfie. You're so cool. The second day of Worlds was hype. So hype that we left Yokohama and flew to Osaka. I haven't mentioned it yet, but we actually got tickets to see the one and only Hatsune Miku live in concert. The real ones know how huge that is for me. I want to talk about how life-changing that was, but I'm gonna make a whole separate video about that experience I'll be posting next. All I'm gonna say is it was the best day of my entire life. By a lot. Subscribe now before you miss it, just saying. I will mention we did have to take the train to get back later that night and got super lost again. And we never get better at it. Don't expect anything to change in that regard. We did finally get back to Yokohama, crashed for the night, and had a nice slow morning as we got ready for finals later that day. To any One Piece fans who are caught up, we were in Japan for the One Piece anime episode. You know what I'm talking about. 1072. We were able to turn on our hotel TV and watch it live. And that was so cool. I don't talk about how much I love One Piece much, mainly because it doesn't really come up. But One Piece is peak, and it was an honor to be in Japan at such an iconic part of the manga and anime's history. Anyway, back to Pokemon. Sorry about that. We were able to watch the final VGC match live, got to chat and eat dinner with Wolfie and some other friends, had a late night hangout with Jan again, and that was about it. Day 7 meant it was time to pack up all our stuff from the hotel, say goodbye to Pokemon and Yokohama, and head on over to the apartment we rented for the rest of our stay just outside of Tokyo. At this point, we had filled up all 6 suitcases and multiple backpacks. I didn't mention it, but Pokemon gave us a truckload of gifts that we genuinely had no idea what to do with. We're grateful nonetheless, thank you, Pokemon. But yeah, the taxi ride was a bit awkward. So, are you meeting up with some friends? No. After we got situated in the new place, we decided to look around the area and grab some lunch. And I gotta say, the little hole-in-the-wall restaurant Jacob found was some of the best ramen I've ever had ever. They even made it vegetarian for me, which was extremely kind of them. Food modifying is a bit tricky in Japan compared to the States, so I was very, very thankful. And it was delicious! We then proceeded to do absolutely nothing for the rest of the day because we were exhausted from the trip so far. I haven't mentioned absolutely everything we'd been doing on the trip because it would be a lot of, first we did this and it was cool, then we did this and it was cool. Even though it was such a pleasure to be invited, I was so dead. And definitely looked super not approachable or friendly to the rest of the group by the end of it. Sorry, guys. But neither time nor Japan stops for anyone, so we had to keep on chugging along. There were a bunch of friends we wanted to see while in Japan, and one of them was Connor. He wanted to take us to what he deemed his favorite Italian place ever. I asked if it was like fancy Italian, to which I was given the answer of no. So we get there, having a great time, and suddenly we realize Junichi Masuda, the director of Game Freak, is there having dinner. Not a fancy dinner, my ass. I then look down to see the Freddy Fazbear FNAF t-shirt that I am wearing. Not the best Jaiden moment to exist, but hey, what can you do? The food was phenomenal, though. I already mentioned the best ramen I've ever had while on the trip, but this was genuinely the best pasta I've ever had in my entire life. Maybe even a top 3 meals ever for me. I don't know what the other 2 would be, but that Connor place is definitely up there. The next day, we went to the One Piece store in Shibuya and bought a lot of stuff because there was a lot of topical and hype things in there, as you could imagine. If you don't get it, go catch up and come back. Don't worry, it won't take too long. My favorite character is Mihawk, but out of all the stuff the store had to offer, there were only a few stickers and a single keychain for Mihawk. I'm still mauling about that one. I just want more Mihawk. Is that too much to ask for? Even this guy got better merch. The world's greatest swordsman deserves better. I guess I'll just take my Zoro and Law stuff. That's cool too, I suppose. I also found a bunch of Chikawa stuff in a Kittyland store, and this is truly when you get to see where things start going downhill for me. I just like the funny little cartoon bear thing. What? Is that such a crime? I don't remember what we did the rest of the day. I think we just crashed and passed out. This trip as surreal as it's been so far, has been absolutely taking a toll on me, and I desperately needed to just not move or talk or exist for a bit. We were doing so many different things that were all awesome, and hanging out with so many different people that were all awesome, but man, I am not built for extended periods of that much excitement and socializing. As much as I would like to change this fact, I'm also not a very active person. I know. Up until this trip, I was practically sitting down 24/7, working all the time to prep as much work as possible so I could have a guilt-free 3 weeks off, and my muscles were definitely starting to decay at that point. I looked at my phone's step meter thing, and there was one day where I literally got 300 steps. That's pathetic. And suddenly, I'm logging over 20,000 daily. My body was screaming. What the hell are you doing out there? Please stop. Plus, we were in Japan during the hottest, most humid time of the year. Every time we left the air-conditioned luxury of a building, we would immediately be drenched in sweat. Look, I'm used to the heat. I grew up in Arizona, but even this was too much. So yeah, crash and burn it was. Tokyo Disneyland was a bit underwhelming. It felt like a slightly worse version of the one in California because of the oddly spaced layout and surprisingly empty vibe. We did go to a Stitch-themed show thing, and as we were walking in, a worker stopped us and said, "Oh, excuse me, Stitch only speaks Japanese," like warning us it's not super tourist friendly. But I just think the statement of Stitch only speaks Japanese is hilarious. We went in anyway, and yep, Stitch only spoke Japanese. Kazoku. Yeah, overall, it was not the best thing we did, but apparently, I didn't know this, Japan has 2 Disneys, Disneyland and Disney Sea, and we went to Land, which is unanimously deemed the worst of the 2. So, oops, better luck next time. Jacob and I took 2 more rest days where we just turned to ash. Then up and at 'em, back to Osaka we go. This time we went to an Eve concert. Besides Hatsune Miku, the Japanese band Eve is the only other concert I've said I wanted to go see. I love their music videos they have for all their songs. It's always such beautiful animation. And by the way, they're the ones who sang the season 1 Jujutsu Kaisen anime opening theme, if you're lost. Earlier in the trip, Jacob just so happened to look up if they were doing a concert while we were there, and lo and behold, they were. He got some totally not scalped tickets, which turned out to be a super complicated process, so thank you, Jacob. You're the bestest friend I've ever had. Thank you for going through the trenches for silly old me. Anyway, the concert was so incredible. The atmosphere was fantastic. They had awesome visual effects going on. The glow bands a lot of people bought were perfectly synced to the music and colors on the stage, which really enhanced the experience. The music was great, which, I mean, of course it was. That was the whole reason we went in the first place. I talk about it more in the upcoming Miku video, but Japanese encores are so much different from the American ones. They're so quiet and polite. There was pretty much no screaming and cheering. It was just a long applause with a semi-whisper chant of "Encore, encore." And they also made us wait like 5 minutes for them to come back out. My hands were getting itchy just from clapping so much, that's how long it took. And then when they finally came out, they ended up doing like 5 extra songs. I mean, I'm not complaining, but after the 4th time thinking, man, that was a great last extra song. Well, time to head home. Wait, another? It starts getting a bit comedic. This is just a side tangent, but Jacob went off to use the bathroom before the show started and came back 10 minutes later, like, dude, this is crazy, but it took me a bit longer to find a bathroom because there were so many extra women's bathrooms, which is like, whoa, that's actually so smart. There's always such a huge line for the women's bathroom compared to the men's in any scenario. I was just shocked Japan was like, okay, then we'll make more women's bathrooms to fix that problem. Like, it was so simple. I know in America it would probably turn into a stupid political thing, but it made me so happy Japan just implemented such an obvious and straightforward solution so easily for the gals. The next day, we headed over to Universal, which was hands down the best amusement park I've ever been to. So they can do amusement parks well. First of all, Universal Japan is way more anime and manga focused than the ones in the States, which made it instantly more engaging for me. Jacob and I both agreed we would window shop for the first part of the day, and then buy all the things we wanted as we were leaving so we wouldn't have to lug around a bunch of bags all day. But we immediately saw a little One Piece shop and cracked. We just wanted to wear these One Piece headbands. That's rule-breaking worthy. We also got some towels because surprise, surprise, it was freaking hot. I know I've been complaining about the weather here and there, but my lord, it was miserably scorching. Japan has such a big culture around staying cool while outside, and I totally get it now. People would be walking around with little fans, ice packs, towels. A lot of women had parasols. I'll say, if we didn't get those towels, we probably could have passed out from heat stroke that day. Later on, I even ended up getting another towel. It was a cute Pikachu one, but I got it mainly because it was a cloak design. After soaking that thing in cold water and putting it on, my body temperature instantly lowered like 5 degrees. However, that meant I was walking around the park looking like this. Back to the awesome stuff. We did a bunch of attractions like watch a fun 4D Jujutsu Kaisen show where the seats move around, went on a super cool 3D VR Spider-Man ride. We tried to cool down by going on a Minions thing called Freeze Ray sliders that claimed to cool riders down with a blast of chilled mist from a giant freeze ray. But we got on and absolutely did not even touch a drop of the mist because it never ended up getting in range of our cart. That felt like an actual tragedy at the time. There were a few big roller coasters we wanted to go on, but I get super motion sick and forgot to bring nausea medicine, so no roller coasters for us, but I shall return one day. The park, of course, had a bunch of cool themed restaurants, one of them being a super cool One Piece restaurant. Did I mention I like One Piece? There also was a special Sanji one, but we didn't know you needed a reservation, so phooey. It was awesome though. I love One Piece. After a few hours of rides and being broiled alive, we decided to fully cool off by going on the Jurassic Park ride. That's just giant splash mountain with dinosaurs. We cooked in line for probably a solid hour, and as soon as we were literally stepping foot inside the ride, it started pouring rain. Now that's just not fair. I don't even understand how that happened, but whatever. We started buying all the stuff we window shopped for as we waited for the One Piece live show to begin. Again, please refrain from judging. I am being vulnerable and open here. By the way, as we were walking around, we stumbled onto a little Mario-themed show just out in a courtyard area. They played some fun little custom songs and had all these dancers alongside the mascots. And then out of nowhere, they started absolutely blasting the crowd with like gallons of water. I didn't even see it coming. It was like firefighters showed up to put out a giant fire, except the fire was a bunch of Japanese people. The time came and we got to file in for the special One Piece live show, and even though Jacob and I didn't understand a single part of it because it was all in Japanese, it was awesome, and the costume design was phenomenal. It was a bit unfortunate though, because the seats were all in like a half circle formation around the stage. As much as they tried to make the show enjoyable from all angles, it was pretty hard to see the main things going on in the center. My only true complaint though is that Zoro didn't come to our side at all. All the other characters rotated around so we could see them, but Zoro only did it at the very end to take a bow. Also, Mihawk being included would have been nice, but it's okay. By the time we got to enter Nintendo Land, it was like 9 p.m. We got up at 6 a.m. by the way, so we pretty much just rode the Yoshi's Island ride they don't have in the States and headed home because that's all the energy we had left. But even just seeing that, it was miles better than the one in the States. Also, we picked up a little dinner at the 7-Eleven near our hotel. 7-Eleven is actually awesome in Japan, by the way. And they had a few little Chicoa plushie keychains, and I bought them. Just being transparent here. We woke up early the next morning to catch our flight back to Tokyo and hurried over to the Kirby Cafe. Emily actually booked the reservation for us. She was meant to also be there, but she was only able to get 2 seats and gave them to us as a gift. Emily, I will always be indebted to you for your sacrifice. The cafe itself was so well decorated with all these little Kirby things, and the menu was adorable. I got the star curry and a magical little fruity drink with a Kirby marshmallow that triggered my cute aggression. Jacob got the pizza and a Kirby burger, but since he made modifications, the staff asked him to not post a picture of the burger to the public. Like, they didn't know he was a content creator or anything. I guess they just didn't want the public to see a naked Kirby burger. We also both got desserts. I already decided I was gonna consume the Kirby. The presentation was beautiful. It was literal art on a plate. Taste-wise, it was decent. The body was some sort of gelatin, which I wasn't too crazy about, but the rest was super tasty. I did my best, but he ended up looking like he was in a horrific accident when I threw in the towel. The cafe also has a special little private store connected to it. And yeah, what you expect happened definitely happened. We left with full bellies and bags, continued to look around the shopping center the cafe was connected to, and ended up walking into a gacha store. I am about to be very vulnerable with you here. This is one of the lowest points of my entire life. Please don't think too much less of me after what happened in that gacha store. So I walk in, spot Chikawa, beeline it to the machine, obviously. Like I mentioned before, I'm only interested in Chikawa, so I was only playing for him. But by the cursed luck of the gacha gods, I just could not get him. I was going back and forth between the machine and the coin exchange, getting multiples of every other little guy, but no Chikawa. I could feel the workers' glances at me, probably because the desk they were standing behind was right next to the machine I was grinding. But after way too much money, he dropped. I got my well-earned, horribly priced at that point, Chikawa. I then started looking at all the other machines, putting some coins in a few here and there, until I stopped at one that had a line of animals playing band instruments. They were very silly, but there was a little pigeon holding up cymbals, and I really wanted to get him for Jordan and Kelsey. In went the coins. Tiger, elephant, fox. It was happening again. Everything except the one I wanted. Which I know more or less that's the luck with gachas, but it was getting to the point where I was getting surprised the pigeon was dodging me as much as it was. Surely the next one. What? Eventually, I had to go back to the coin exchange, and as I was about to put in more money, I saw out of the corner of my eye one of the workers peek out and take a look in horror at all the gachapons that were sitting at the top of my bag. They then raised up their hand and said something in Japanese while shaking their head, and I knew in my heart I was being cut off. No, please! I can stop whenever. Just a few more hits and I'm done. The pigeon is next. I can feel it. Why do you look afraid? What's under the desk? I got kicked out of a gacha store. I had hit an all-time low. I told my friends and they said they probably just thought I was gonna try and resell them, but I don't even know if that would even make it sound better knowing I was getting so many that they thought I was robbing them blind. I just wanted my little Chikawa and pigeon with cymbals. We made dinner plans that night with a friend and we were just about to grab a taxi and head back to freshen up, but Jacob and I caught sight of a fun anime and goodies shop. Who do we think we are? People with self-control? We'll make it quick! We rushed in and split up for optimization. As I was looking around, I saw it. A whole section dedicated to Chikawa. It was like someone put a freshly baked pie on a windowsill, and I was suddenly floating over to it. My eyes were zoned in, making sure I saw every single thing possible, putting Chikawa after Chikawa in the basket. Jacob eventually came over and showed me a picture he took on his phone. In my tunnel vision, all my eyes registered was that the picture showed more Chikawa in the store. I immediately went feral. Where? Jacob's eyebrows went up in surprise and maybe a bit of fear. And as I looked at the photo again, I realized Jacob wasn't showing me a picture of a different Chikawa section. He was showing me a picture of me at the current Chikawa section I was standing in because he thought it was funny. And in my Chikawa brain rot, I didn't even register I was in the picture. I just saw more Chikawa and went obsessive. This is how I am. Either stand by me or leave. No, I don't need an intervention. Put it away. We left. I looked longingly at the crane machine Chikawas we didn't have time for, and we made it in time for dinner. Plus, we ended up in another arcade nearby anyway, and I got myself a Chikawa from one of those machines, so it worked out. Stop. I don't want to hear it. Finally, we were reaching the end of our trip. We spent the last day grabbing lunch with Emily and Didus. There was a cool One Piece scavenger hunt event going on, so we also did that with them. We basically had to walk around Shibuya and find special One Piece trading card posters hidden around the area, and if we found enough along with the special card of the day, we could get a limited edition mystery card. It was fun, but also hot. And all my clothes were sticking to my body. Didus generously let me borrow his umbrella, and I jumped for joy as he showed me it was coincidentally Chikawa themed. I don't know what's wrong with me. All I know is that bear makes me happy. We spent a few hours completing the scavenger hunt, got our special cards, and bid them farewell. Always good to see you guys. Bye-bye. I accidentally stole Didus's umbrella. It looked so calculated. They knew how much I was obsessed with Chikawa. They'd been watching my Instagram stories. Follow if you want to see brain rot in real time. Emily, I have the Chikawa umbrella. I didn't mean to steal it. I promise. It's not what it looks like. Since we were leaving in the morning and wouldn't be seeing them again, they just let me keep it. But the side eye Jacob gave me the rest of the way back. I didn't mean to— stop it! Getting back to the apartment, reality hit us hard. We needed just a few more suitcases. Again. In total, we ended up buying 6 extra suitcases to hold everything we collectively bought. And even then, it was a struggle making it fit. Jacob ended up going professional Tetris mode, perfectly fitting everything into the suitcases with quite literally no extra room to spare. We came to Japan each with a backpack, carry-on, and 1 extra big suitcase, and we're leaving with altogether 8 suitcases and 4 backpacks. We were lucky the taxi driver had a big enough car to fit everything because we didn't have much of a game plan if it didn't. Off to the airport we went, where we checked all of our excessive bags, paid a couple fees, boarded our flight, and headed home. That trip will go down as one of the best trips I've ever gone on. It felt like it turned into a celebration of everything that makes me me. All of my hobbies and interests, Pokemon, One Piece, at the last minute Chikawa. We got to do so many incredible things and were given so many opportunities I'd never even thought I could be a part of. I got to see so many friends that are normally so far away, ate some of the best meals of my life, and overall was just really happy, especially getting to spend it all with my best friend Jacob. By the way, if you wanted to know why in the world we got so many things, yes, a lot of it was for us. 90% of it all was for our friends. 100% of the Chikawa stuff was mine, but that's besides the point. If you want to see what we got them, also credit where credit is due, the majority of it all was from Jacob, because he's a great gift giver and even more incredible friend to the people around him. We're all nothing short of lucky to be able to call him our friend. You can go watch his Japan video. I assume it's already up because we had to animate a freaking 30-minute long video. My god, it was a lot. Thanks for sticking around. But yeah, I just had an unforgettable trip, and I owe the opportunity to the Pokemon Company for inviting us to Japan in the first place. I'm extremely lucky to be in the position I am and will be forever grateful. One time I was at an arcade and saw someone with an Ari bag, so I went up to them and said, "Hey, I really like your bag." She turned around, looked straight at me, and said, "Thanks, it's from Jaiden Animations." Oh, cool. And then I just walked away because I didn't know how to salvage that interaction without being weird about it. As someone who has somehow amassed big number on YouTube website, you'd probably expect me to be recognized fairly frequently when I'm out on the town. I do definitely get recognized here and there, but given that almost all of the content I've posted is me in cartoon form, it's much less than you'd think. I don't really expect to be recognized unless I'm going somewhere that attracts people who are more online, such as conventions or Hatsune Miku concerts. Of course, I've been in plenty of IRL content on other people's channels, so it's not like no one knows what I look like, but that barrier has given a bit of cushion on how often people will notice that Jaiden Animations is in their vicinity. The majority of my fan interactions are very positive and follow this general flow. "Are you Jaiden Animations?" "Yeah." "Oh, that's so cool. I love your videos. Can I get a photo?" "Yeah." All right, thanks. Bye. It's simple. It's streamlined. Everyone's happy. Of course, not every interaction goes like this. And naturally, people always want to know about the outliers, the bad interactions, the weird ones. Any freaks out there that you've met, Jaiden? I'm lucky enough to be able to say, you guys are pretty normal. There's not really any single experience that comes to mind when people ask me that. So thank you. Gold star to every single person I've met in my entire career so far. However, I do have some funny stories I've collected. Like one time, Jacob and I were sitting down at the Toadstool Cafe to film for their video about Nintendo Land when this one guy walked by and recognized Jacob. Oh my gosh, are you Alpha Red? Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I love your videos. Can I get a photo? Yeah, you know, everything's going as per the script. At this point, I piped up and asked, would you like me to take the photo for you? And as I said that, Jacob and I both saw that the guy suddenly recognized my voice, and therefore, me. Now knowing there were 2 YouTubers at that table, he started to ask if I was Jaiden, but mid-sentence realized that if he was incorrect, it would look a little tiny bit racist. You know, you can't always just assume the Asian girl with Alpha Red is Jaiden, even though 90% of the time you'd be correct. So he ended up pivoting halfway through to cover for the mistake, which ended up like this. Would you like me to take the photo for you? Oh, correct me if I'm wrong, but who are you? Of course, we knew what he meant. I say I'm Jaiden, everything is fine, we all take a photo together. But being able to see the line his brain took in real time was so funny. It's one of my and Jacob's favorite stories because he meant so well. Like, I completely understand what happened. But also asking, sorry, but who are you? To someone offering to take a photo is just... I would love to meet that guy again and just tell him how much we loved that interaction. Dude, if you're out there, I hope your Toadstool Cafe food was good. Because ours wasn't. There actually have been times, though, where people have thought they've run into me and were just wrong. I've seen tweets tagging me like, OMG, just met Jaiden Animations. As I'm currently sitting at home looking at a photo of some poor random Asian girl. When we were all on tour for Scribble Showdown a while back in Chicago, James and Emily went to go look at the bean, and James ended up getting recognized. While he was talking to the group of people, one of them saw Emily and went, oh my gosh, it's Jaiden! James immediately starts laughing his ass off trying to correct them, but somehow wasn't clear enough because when they were all taking a photo, they were like, Jaiden, get in front! Another time, when Jacob and Joe posted a video of themselves playing Mario Wonder in a GameStop, at the very end, Joe turned the camera around to the girl filming and said, are you Jaiden Animations? The bit being it was our friend Sarah Moon, who is not me, but has been called Jaiden by confused viewers in the past for really no reason. But still, hundreds of people in the comment section of the video still thought she was me anyway because Asian girl. Then, to poke fun at that situation, a while later they asked me to record them playing Mario Kart in a round 1, and in it said, huge shout out to Sarah Moon for recording this video, as the camera panned to me. And you'd think people would catch on to the joke, but so many more people were like, okay, I thought that was Jaiden in the other video, but was afraid of being racist. Not realizing they're still not getting it. Sarah and I genuinely look nothing alike, but just pointing at one of us and going, Jaiden, will convince hordes of people in comment sections without fail. It's like casting an inescapable Jaiden spell. On the opposite side of the coin, I was in San Diego for TwitchCon last year, perusing the San Diego Zoo with some friends. And honestly, to hype it up a bit, the San Diego Zoo is awesome. I legit went there 3 times during the 3-day event, which to the math nerds out there means I went to the zoo more times than the actual convention. Anyway, someone ended up coming up to me with an, excuse me, that I registered as I was being recognized. So I turned around, expecting the typical fan interaction. Sorry to interrupt, but are you Amaru? I was stun-locked. It threw off my whole script and I accidentally blurted out, oh, no, I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm just Asian. And the guy didn't really have anything to say about that. He just went, oh, okay, thanks. You know, it was a nice little dose of humble for me, though. I got a kick out of Emily and Sarah being called Jaiden, and now I've been struck by the Amaru hammer. Look, I'll be the one to say it, though. None of us look like each other. We're just Asian women on the internet, and not even the same kind. So yeah, if you ever think you see your favorite Asian creator in the wild, make sure you double check. Sometimes I can tell people are secretly Googling me before asking for a photo just to be sure. And you know, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. I didn't mean to go off on this whole tangent about people accidentally being racist. I'm sorry, there were just a lot of instances of it. We can get back on track now. The very first time I was recognized, not in like a convention setting, was in a random Target. I was walking down an aisle chatting with my friend Kelsey when someone passed by, backtracked, and came up asking, "Are you Jaiden?" Now, this was back in 2017 when I had significantly less content showing my face, so I was completely shocked and not prepared. I was in ugly house clothes, no makeup, hair wasn't washed, literal bridge dweller, and was in the middle of my first public fan interaction. Apparently, they recognized me from my voice, which is nuts. Some people have told me I sound exactly like how I do in my videos, and others say I don't, so I have no barometer on what I actually sound like. The person was super sweet. This isn't like a crazy story or anything, but it's special in my mind because I was so embarrassed and unprepared for it, mentally and physically. This next one was when Jacob, Captain Kidd, and I were in Hawaii for Pokemon Worlds. We'd all just arrived at the event and were checking out all the fun decorations Pokemon set up. Since all of us have made a good amount of Pokemon content, a lot of Pokemon fans were recognizing us and asking to take photos. A well-intentioned mom ended up taking notice of how much attention we were getting and asked us what we did for a living for all of these people to be coming up to us. Jacob explained we were YouTubers and she lit up, saying her son watches a lot of YouTube, pointing down at the young boy hiding behind her leg. In an attempt to connect with the kid a bit, Jacob asked what YouTubers he watched. I like Mr. Beast. Seeing a way to make the kid excited, Jacob pointed at me and said, "No way! Did you know she was in a Mr. Beast video recently and won?" Instantly, the kid jumped up. "You know Mr. Beast?" "Well, like, kinda. I've talked to him before, but will you tell him to give me $1 million? First of all, hilarious situation to suddenly be thrust into. Second of all, now that the kid was suddenly not hiding behind his mom's leg anymore, we could see he had a giant gold chain around his neck, sporting a framed PSA graded base set first edition Charizard. Little dude, do you know how much cash you've got around your neck right now? The card was graded like 9.5 as well. I have no idea where he got it from. Like, you always see those, "Can you give me $1 bajillion?" comments on Mr. Beast stuff, but it was surreal to witness it in real life. Like, it's real. Gold chain Charizard Mr. Beast kid has been cemented in my memories, and he didn't even know who we were. Also, for the record, after I won the Mr. Beast cube, my emails were an absolute wreck of random people begging me for money. "Can you give me money? May please get some money? Hi, JD." Not my name. "Just 10K, thank you." Heart. Someone straight up sent me a PayPal invoice for $10,000 with no message attached. Just an outstretched, grubby little hand in my inbox. Guys, I didn't win any money from that thing. You can stop emailing me. We gave it all away to various artists all over the globe to support them through their art school, which was an incredible opportunity, and I was very happy to support artists, and I wish them all the best of luck with their degrees. But stop emailing me for money! Gosh, I don't even want to know what Mr. Beast's DMs look like. One time my phone screen died on me, not my fault, so I had to take it to a repair shop. This was, unfortunately, during a time when my car's driver's side mirror was smashed. My fault. So I also had no street legal car to take me back home while I waited for my phone to be fixed. Needing to kill 2 hours, I ended up sitting in a nearby Burger King equipped with my Switch to play Hello Kitty Island Adventure and an iPad as a second monitor to watch YouTube videos. I almost made it the entire time with no issue, but like some sort of pathetic Scooby-Doo villain, my plan was foiled as a nice girl came up to me and quickly said, "I really like your videos," before walking back over to sit with her friends. Now, the interaction itself was completely fine. I'm just embarrassed at what it looked like on her end. Internet personality Jaiden Animations sitting completely alone at a single seat table in a random Burger King. No food in sight, just a table covered in devices like some sort of 27-year-old iPad kid. She didn't even let me explain my situation. She just said hi and walked off. So, kind girl, if you're out there, or even still a fan, it wasn't as pathetic as it looked. It was pathetic, but it's not that bad. I was just passing the time. Please resubscribe. I feel like I lost you that day. Speaking of unfollowing out of shame, a couple of years ago, I went with some friends to my first furry convention. The furry convention isn't the shameful part, though. That itself was great. The actual shame began when my group wanted to check out the 18+ section, mainly out of curiosity and entertainment. I sheepishly followed them in, and just as I was thinking to myself, man, it would sure be unfortunate if I got recognized while in here. Oh my gosh, are you Jaiden Animations? Yeah. So admittedly, there's a single photo out there of me, a fan, and a very colorful background. Quickly moving on from that one, this story is by far the most I've ever been recognized out in public in my entire life. There's probably a teeny little slight possibility I curated it myself by accident, but it was when I went to a Hatsune Miku concert in California. The community somehow has caught on that I like her, and said community was all right there in one spot. Before the concert, I was getting recognized like every few minutes, which is very not normal for me, but you know, completely fine. I don't mind at all. Eventually, everyone was led into the venue. I was meeting a few more people inside. Then the lights went down and we all got to enjoy the concert as per usual. However, when the show was over and the lights turned back on, everyone rotated 180 degrees to head to the exit, which meant people could see my face again. We would make it a few steps forward, get stopped, then 3 more people would come up, and I'd suddenly be against the wall. All while my poor friends just had to watch it all happen and wait for me. For the first time ever, I needed to figure out a way to get out of there, or else I would have been taking photos with the entire concert audience as my friends withered on the floor. Sarah put her big hoodie on me, another friend gave me their sunglasses, and suddenly, I vanished. No more Jaiden Animations. Poof. She was gone. The Clark Kent strategy actually works. Sarah and I quickly headed to the exit, squishing past unsuspecting Miku fans, and it wasn't until we made it all the way to the parking lot where we turned around and realized we were alone. I was successfully smuggled out, but the downside was the disguise was so overly effective, even our friends didn't know who I was anymore. At least now I know if I'm ever in a sticky situation, a simple hoodie and glasses is really all it takes. I will no longer be making fun of Superman's public disguise. Dude knew what he was talking about. Despite all of these stories, if you ever see me in public, please don't be afraid to come up and say hi. I'm more than happy to meet you or take a photo. Again, basically every person I've met who watches my videos was absolutely wonderful, these stories included, and I promise I won't make a video about you if you accidentally say something a little awkward. Unless it was really funny and the world needs to know. Also, I can tell when you recognize me, I've essentially got a spidey sense for it by now, and it's more uncomfortable for both of us if you just stare at me for 30 minutes and then leave. Please, just say hi or something. It's okay. I'm lucky to have such a normal and kind group of people watching my content, and I do really enjoy getting to meet you guys. I guess if you were to take anything from this video, make sure you know it's actually me. This is not me. This is not me. This is not me. I'm this one. Hope that helps.
Man, it has been quite some time since I've done a good old classic story time. What is this, 2016? The fact that I really only have lighthearted funny stories to share and not really any bad or scary ones with meeting people who watch the videos is a huge testament on how kind and respectful you all are, and I really appreciate it. Like, half of these stories are about how I was the one fumbling it, you know? I always look forward to meeting more of you guys in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.
You guys know Gabe the dog, right? Well, he died just recently. Rest in tranquility, sweet puppers. Your borks will forever echo in our hearts. I wish his family the best. It's always heartbreaking to hear when people lose their pets. All animals want is love and happy, and it's just so sad because you feel for the people who took such great care of them and loved them, and they had an unbreakable bond, and I'm an animal lover. I can't help myself.
Alright, you calm down. I'm trying to record. Stop. You're messing up the recording. Calm down.
When I heard the sad news about Gabe, it reminded me of my old childhood dogs, and I thought I could tell you some stories because they're a bit insane. I'm surprised I haven't told them sooner, to be honest. I had 2 dogs growing up. The first one was a Shetland sheepdog, Keisha. Quick fact, growing up, I didn't know what the breed was called, so I just said Keisha dog, and that's what I still call them to this day. I don't have too many memories of Keisha because my parents got her before I was born, and I was too young to remember very much from the few years we coexisted, but my mom and dad have told me stories of us, including the one I'm about to share with you. Setting the timeline here, I was really young, 3 years old. I don't have memory of this, but my parents have told me about it many times. So my mom and dad decided that we should all take a nice walk around the neighborhood with Keisha. I was apparently very excited about this and was wanting to go out right at that moment. They told me to slow my roll and wait a bit because they needed to get ready, and we would go out later. But Jaiden thought, nah, I'm going now. So I took Keisha and left the house on my own without telling my parents I was leaving. There was now an unsupervised 3-year-old wandering down the street, walking a dog. I can't even imagine what that could have looked like. I don't know how far down the road I got, but by some crazy coincidence, a police cruiser just so happened to be driving by and spotted me. As it started approaching, I guess I was like, shoot, they're after me! Abort! Abort! And before they could ask me any questions, I start booking it back to the house. It was around that time my parents realized I left and were getting ready to go out and find me, and they come out to the front to see their frickin' child, dog leash in hand, hightailing it from this police cruiser that's following me down the neighborhood. Everything was fine. I was fine. The dog was fine. But now you know about the one time I was chased by the police. Keisha was a great dog, as I was told. She was gentle with me as a baby and was like my own fluffy bodyguard / babysitter. But she passed away before I was old enough to really remember her. I've always loved animals my entire life and would beg my parents to let us get another dog. Years and years of nagging and just, please, Mom, I promise I'll take good care of it, and I'll feed it, and I'll water it, and give it sunshine, and everything a dog needs to grow into a big, strong doggo, please! And on my 7th birthday, my dad went behind my mom's back and got me a dog without telling her. Now, okay, we went to look at dogs before as a group, but it was never an official decision we'd get one. So here's the story of when we got our new dog. My dad went to the place to pick him up. We got him from a dog rescue, which is a recommended place to get animals because you save a life and all that. Try to look into rescues and adoptions over breeders, just a tip I thought I just mentioned. And when he was holding the dog, getting ready to take him home, the dog started peeing on him. Obviously, my dad didn't want that, so he tried to hold him away from his body, but that made the dog nervous, and he turned around and bit my dad's hand. Not wanting to drop the dog on the floor, he tried to shift him over to the other hand, but he bit that one too! My dad came home with pee on his shirt, 2 bleeding thumbs, and a dog. I named him Scruffy. Scruffy was a weird little dog, Havanese breed if you're wondering. He hated my dad and loved my mom, who was ironically the only one who didn't want him. He would follow her everywhere, and when she was at work, he'd sit in the living room and do nothing but wait for her to get back. We always joked that he was just a cat in a dog's body. Come here, Scruffy! Come here! Come here, Scruffy! But we loved him anyway. My mom gave him haircuts to make it look like he had a mohawk. So back to stories. Every morning our mom would drop us off at our elementary school down the street, and Scruffy would ride in the car too. He'd sit in the back with us and stick his head out the window, but one day he just jumped out. He freaking jumped out the window of a moving car. We weren't driving fast, mind you, because we weren't on the main road yet, but friggin' heck it, Scruffy, you can't just jump out moving cars whenever you want. He ran into the desert because he was freaked out, and we lost track of him. Of course, my brother and I still had to go to school, but I was pretty messed up for the rest of the day. And by the time I got home, he still wasn't found. This was in summer, too. A little black dog in the Arizona sun without water isn't a good combination. And he definitely wouldn't survive a night with all the coyotes around. He'd be like a little Happy Meal to him. We drove around looking for him for a long time. I was leaning out the window calling his name. And no, I didn't jump out and run away too. We didn't need two family members jumping out of car windows that day, you know what I'm saying? After searching and searching for so long, we were actually starting to lose hope. But we finally found him! Scruffy! Time for a bath. Finding Scruffy again was the biggest rush of relief I've ever experienced in my life. Want to hear about the second time he ran away? This was several years later. We were driving back from visiting my aunt in Tahoe, as I mentioned we do in a previous video. But it wasn't just my mom, dad, brother, and Scruffy with us. My dad's dad was with us too. We call him Opa. He's this old retired 4'11" horse jockey to give you an image of what he looks like. So we were driving in the middle of the desert on our way home, and we decided to stop at a gas station. My mom and I had to go to the bathroom, so she gave Scruffy to Opa and told him to let him go to the bathroom while we went to the bathroom. He was on a leash, so nothing could have gone wrong, right? Right? Yeah, of course not. While we were in the stall, I was still young enough to go in the same restroom stall as my mom, okay? Opa busts in and yells for my mom. There were a few other women in the bathroom too, so they were a bit startled to see this tiny old man come in and start making a ruckus. Yeah? And she sees Opa holding the leash with no dog on the end. Oh, great! Pull up your pants, we're going on a run. Since it was all mostly flat open desert, we were able to see Scruffy still booking it down the side of the road. And since it was a tiny middle of nowhere gas station, the few people that were there were all chasing after him too. Everyone was screaming at each other, "Get the dog! Get the dog!" and running around. Ugh, what a disaster. The thing is, even though Scruffy was a small dog with tiny legs, he could run. Those things can friggin' run. And when he started running, you couldn't stop him. It was like tunnel vision. Need to run, need to run, need to run. Where am I going? I don't know. If I just run, I'll get there. You could try to yell his name. It wasn't like he was gonna listen. He hardly did that anyway. So how'd we catch him? Driving down the road towards us was a white van. They saw that there was a herd of people chasing this tiny dog down the road. So they turned sideways, opened their big van car doors. You know, the kind I'm talking about, the ones that they slide. And Scruffy just jumped in. What? Scruffy, hasn't anyone taught you not to jump into white vans with strangers? They didn't even have to offer you dog treats to get you in there. And I could try to lie to you and say they closed the door and drove off with a free dog, but they didn't. They gave him back to us. But think about how easily they could have. Oh, thanks for catching our dog. We could have never caught up to him. I don't think you would have forgiven me if I tried to pull off that ending. And that was runaway attempt number 2. He loved us, I promise. Scruffy was a great dog, too. And even though it might not seem like it because I only talked about him trying to run away from us, he was glad to be part of our family, and we all loved him. If you have an animal, make sure you give him a good pat on the head and tell him you love him. Even if it's a snake. Yeah, snakes want love, too. It's sad to hear when animals die. Scruffy dying was the first time I ever had to experience death, and I was really heartbroken when he wasn't with us anymore. But just knowing we gave him a good life and he was a happy little dog helped me feel better. Make sure you give your animal the best life you can while they're still around. All animals deserve to be loved and cared for properly. They aren't your possession, they're a friend and a family member. Give them the right care, the right food, the right toys, the right amount of attention, everything. And make sure you do research beforehand to know exactly what it takes to make sure they're happy and healthy. Too many people impulse buy animals, and the poor thing doesn't end up being treated for correctly. Research and then love. That's the steps. Rest in peace, Gabe. Keep on borking, little pal. You know those parent or adult parties your parents had when you were little, where all the adults would get together at a house and push all their kids off into another room and say, "Now play together." Well, one time when I was probably about 6 or 7, my family had a parent party, and all the kids decided to play hide and seek together. So I ran into the bathroom and hid behind the shower curtain, and looking back at this, I realized how horrible of a hiding spot that is, because that's basically the only spot you can hide in the bathroom, and I probably would have been found easily in a matter of minutes. But anyway, I was sitting there in the bathtub when someone walked into the bathroom, and I thought it was a seeker, so I stayed really quiet but then I heard the door shut and the sound of someone opening the toilet lid. It was definitely not a seeker. Or one of the kids, for that matter. Turns out, I had to sit in the bathtub completely motionless, listening to some guy pee for a good amount of time. And the whole time I was so scared he would look behind the shower curtain and find me just sitting in the bathtub, thinking I was trying to watch people pee or something. So eventually he left and I could get out of the bathroom, and after that I was done. I was done playing hide and seek for a very long time after that. And no, he didn't wash his hands.
導け星影最後まで戦えるように泥まみれだって逃げ続けて嘘でローリーギロッとして走り回ってやっと溢れ出した遅い旅ギリピン逆らって飛べなんて押してしまえば君が追うのか変わらずに No my name No my name 導け星影最後まで戦えるように泥まみれだって決して諦めないよピアテオにはそばにいるから二人で立ち向かおう僕らきっと Rise above 転んだとしてもやめないと決めた君がいるからそう二人で立ち向かおう僕らきっと Rise above
I just played one of the best Pokemon games ever, and I'm here to tell you all about it. I'm a huge Pokemon fan. Ruby was one of the first video games I remember owning, and I've decided to devote the rest of my life and soul to the franchise. And by that, I mean I'll play the new games when they come out. Do I have to like them? No. Frankly, I think the past few recent ones have been kinda garbage. But that won't stop me from getting my hopes up thinking the next game will be different, even though deep down, we all know it won't be. But Pokemon does have a few side games you might have heard of, like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, or Pokemon Stadium, or that weird geometric one. But there's one franchise that I feel like doesn't get talked about nearly as much as it deserves, and that's Pokemon Ranger. I had the original Pokemon Ranger game as a kid, and I remember two things about it. I liked it, and circles. Lots of circles. The flashbacks are beginning. When I remembered Pokemon Ranger existed, I decided to look it up and see if it was worth possibly making a video on, and that's when I realized there were actually 3 Pokemon Ranger games. Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Almia, and Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs. Bit of a Pokemon Ranger mouthful, but I digress. I was looking at some forums of people discussing which one they thought was the best, and the Shadows of Almia one seemed to be high on a lot of people's lists. So I bought the game. Now sit down and get comfy because I just played this game for the first time, and I'm here to tell you about why it's the best game ever. The game starts off with your character taking the entrance exam to a Pokemon Ranger school, and it only took me 2 attempts to draw 5 consecutive circles around this barely moving Pikachu. You're dang right that's impressive. I guess that's all it takes, because now I'm officially a member of this secret army for this inscrutable team school plotting to rule the world. Oh, he's just kidding. Yeah, it's a normal school. I'm introduced to my class, and for some reason they've been, like, starved for new human contact or something, because they're bombarding the teacher with questions. Are they a boy or a girl? Which is it? Is she cute? So I'm introducing myself, and apparently the teacher catches this Keith kid looking at me with a big grin. Anyway, you go sit next to Keith. Oh, okay, just plop me right next to him. Yeah, I don't mind or anything. Thanks, Teach. Anyway, you get a tour of the school from this girl with me, meeting the other teacher, Mr. Kincaid, who's apparently a stickler for making sure kids don't run in the hall, and this kid, Isaac, that Rhythmy called Mushroom Hair. Both my IQ and my height in centimeters are 163. Alright, bud. After getting a feel for the school, you're taught how to capture Pokemon with your styler. Loops portray the feeling of friendship, so the more loops you draw around the Pokemon, the more it will submit to your friendship. That's nice. Touch the Bidoof. You finish the school day and are fast asleep in the dorms when all the students decide it's initiation time. Get up, sleepyhead, it's 4 a.m. Time for your student initiation. Yes, sirs. They tell you to find all 4 of the stylers they've hidden around the giant school, and after doing so, you have to put them in the basement for some reason. So you head down there after finding them all, and are in the basement when, why are you down here? Only I'm permitted to be in the basement. Leave now! Anyway, Isaac, have you finished testing my very secret experiment no one can know about? The rest of the school year goes on without any big problems. Pokemon Ranger Crawford comes and talks about what it's like to be a ranger. You save the milkman from some Bidoof. You attend a one-day internship at the local Pokemon Ranger base, and they make you bring them their lunch as an important mission. Actually, while you're at the internship, someone runs over and says the Pokemon on the beach are acting strange. You go with the Rangers to check it out to see all the Pokemon going crazy, and save the day by capturing them with your loops of friendship. But yeah, that's weird. Finally, you make it to graduation. Jaiden, come up and make a speech as the class representative. Oh, I'm the class representative, huh? Well, don't mind if I... So after saving everyone from a very strange rampage of Tangrowth, you start working at the Pokemon Ranger base you interned at. There's a call about some more Pokemon acting strange down in a nearby cave, so your first mission is to investigate what's going on. In the cave, you stumble upon this weird missile-looking machine that seems to be what's hypnotizing the Pokemon in its vicinity and making them go crazy. So you destroy it and everyone's proud of you. This Professor Hastings guy is called down from the Pokemon Union to take a look at the cave machine, and I guess he's like 100 years old or something because the Rangers want you to go meet him halfway in Puel Town to make sure he doesn't get lost and die along the way. You take one step in town, and oh god, all the Pokemon are going nuts. Turns out there's more of those rocket machines planted in the town, and as you're going around smashing them, you run into some guys that are not only very shady, but also terribly shifty. They run away to tell their leaders there's Pokemon Rangers smashing their stuff, and further into the town you find them again with their admin, who's like, dude, what the heck? What do you have against our Giga Remos, you vandals? Treat things with respect. And then attacks me with Rattata and a Toxicroak. Not gonna lie, their battle music kinda bangs though. Turns out they're part of this gang called Team Dim Sun, and after capturing their Pokemon with friendship loops, they decide to retreat. We're able to find Professor Hastings and bring him back to the base to analyze what we now know are Giga Remo machines. He finds a tiny black crystal in the center that seems to be the thing that allows Team Dim Sun to control the Pokemon. The base considers this a problem, which is reasonable. And now the Pokemon Union starts getting involved, which is like the big head honcho of Pokemon Ranger bases where all the Ranger prodigies are. The story continues as the Union tries to uncover more about what Dim Sun is up to, and you keep interrupting their plans. You catch them trying to drill a tunnel in the side of a mountain. You catch them having a secret base and cargo ship in the middle of a volcano, which Mr. Kincaid is found to be part of Dim Sun. Big surprise, didn't see that one coming. You haven't been running in the ship's hallways, have you? You catch them mining hundreds of dark crystal shards in an abandoned mine. That one was a bit of a problem because apparently there was the mother of all shadow crystals there, powerful enough to power this incredible machine they're in the middle of developing that they plan on using to control all the Pokemon within a 500-mile radius they got their grubby hands on and helicoptered away to their headquarters. Probably should tell someone about that. But the good thing is we ended up finding the diary of the Dim Sun president's father, who writes about how if we gather these 3 gems called the Tears of Princes, the gems will be able to combine their power and negate the power of the Shadow Crystal. Alright, let's go do that. The first gem is told to be in this giant ice castle called Alima Castle, and on the way there, you run into Dim Sun grunts trying to stop you. They're not hard to deal with, and they start getting a bit frustrated. I want to pay you with a snowball. hard. You make it to the castle after swimming through a bunch of ocean boulders and whirlpools that totally didn't slow me down at all, and end up at the castle where Dim Sum is already running around in trying to get the gem first. These guys are blocked from going any further because this giant chunk of ice is in front of the door, and the grunts are like, man, that's a big hunk of ice. If we made snow cones out of it, we'd be able to feed like 403 people. And then they see me standing there and are all, hey, that outfit! What are they called again? Pokemon Ranger? You came for a snow cone? You deal with that whole situation and end up in the room just before where the gem is being kept, where you're introduced to one of the members of Team Dim Sum's Sinus Trio, Ice. I don't know what his deal is, but he called me Jaiden Noob and then dabbed, so I had to murder him. Well, I captured and freed his Frostlass, and he scurried away all, well, I didn't need the gem anyway. After gaining the trust of the Lucario guarding the gem with more of my loops, the blue gem of the Tier of Princes is mine. Fast forward a bit, and you get the red gem as well after defeating Sinus Trio Lavana and her Infernape. She doesn't dab, but she does do this sexy little dance. The guy from school, Keith, who's a ranger now, was assigned to get the yellow gem and hasn't come back yet, so the Union's like, alright, Jaiden, go check on him. You hop on a boat to the destination, but whoops, apparently a Wailord is in trouble. I'll just go down there and see. Yep, I thought so. These Dim Sum grunts are trying to kidnap a Wailord, and after destroying the machines that were trapping it, they decide to just grab a Wailmer instead and try to convince their boss it's a Wailord mini. You follow them on the rescued Wailord and start infiltrating their base. Down a hall, you discover the grunts squishing the Wailmer through the door, and as you follow them into the room, they're like, oh crap, shoot, do you want to deal with the ranger? Oh no, I'm too wimpy. I know. Let's apologize. Sorry. We got the ranger's confidence. Charge! And then drop a truckload of Slackoth on me. After capturing all their Slackoth, they're like, oh no! And then all of them just grab me and shove me out of the room and lock it. Which honestly is more effective than like 99% of all video game villains. So you keep running through the base and end up actually finding mushroom-haired Isaac from Ranger School. He's been manipulated into building Dim Sum's incredible machine, and we agree to take him back to the Union after we finish up our business in the secret hideout. We finally encounter Mr. Kinsaid, who's manning the Wailord operation. He's being all maniacal, but we successfully capture his Gliscor, save Wailmer, and bring Isaac safely back to the Union, where he gives us access to the incredible machine blueprints. Skipping ahead in the story a bit, we end up not being able to get the yellow gem because Heath, the last of the Sinus Trio, kidnapped Keith and we exchanged him for the yellow gem. I kept trying to say no, but I guess it's good we saved him. The Union makes a plan to have their top rangers go and fly to Dim Sum's headquarters and face them head on. Jaiden, you can just sit in the corner and do nothing. But right as they leave to do that, the Sinus Trio busts through the Union walls and are like, ha ha ha, we'll be taking this, and steal back Isaac because they need him to complete the Incredible Machine by midnight so they can activate the Shadow Crystal. Isaac complied because they threatened to kill his sister or something. So new plan, now I have to get Isaac back and basically destroy the machines that were protecting their building/Incredible Machine because, oops, I didn't mention this before, but they turned their entire building headquarters into the Incredible Machine. What? We basically just waltzed right through the front doors of the headquarters. Heh, that'll stop people from entering. What? How did you get in here? And battle our way up to Isaac, who's like, you're a bit too late. I totally just completed the entire machine and they're about to use it to hypnotize all the Pokemon in the region in like 5 minutes. Well, at least your sister's not dead. So you run to the top, defeating the Sinus Trio every floor of the way, and grab the last Tears of Prince's gem. And you get to the top where you meet the Dim Sum president Blake Hall for the first time, and he's like, you're too late. It's time for darkness. Get her, Dusknoir. And then I capture it immediately. And he's like, just kidding. Get her, Darkrai! And then Darkrai just starts dipping me into darkness, and Keith has to come save me on his Staraptor. So Darkrai's like, well, then I'm gonna just dip these guys into the darkness, and throws Blake and his assistant into the void. Haha, but I decide to capture and free Darkrai anyway with the help of the Tears of Princes, and save the day. Yay, woohoo! I'm a hero! Time to take a nap. Now, Pokemon Ranger is a big game. It took me about 24 full hours to get through the game, so I had to leave out a lot, and I mean a lot, of other points in the story. There's even a bunch of side quests that are actually pretty entertaining and funny you can complete that help power up your styler. There's one where this guy says he researches smells and wants me to bring him the stench of a muck. So you do it, and he's like, yes, and puts it in a jar. Then later on in the game, he pops up again, and this time asks for a Weezing and a Skuntank, to which he's like, yes, and puts them in jars. Then he's like, thanks, dude, and you never see him again. The dialogue is absolutely amazing. This game has probably the best writing out of any Pokemon game I know of. Team Dim-Sun is obviously the star of the show, and whenever they come on screen, you know they're gonna have something funny to say. At one point, while I was trying to get into their secret base in the volcano, I captured the Pokemon they were controlling, and they're like, time to make our escape, and set off dynamite, which exploded a giant boulder and blocked the entrance to the base, which they're like, shoot, we were supposed to detonate it after we go in. So they had to wait for me to go get a Pokemon that can destroy the rock. And they're like, thanks, Ranger. We'll be grateful for this for about a second. And they run through the door. So you follow them, and they come back like, hey, we forgot about you helping us. Take this! And drop a bunch of Numel on me. Also, all of the music that plays when they're around is awesome. I was jamming out whenever I was running around their base. It's a bummer this game isn't super popular. I know it's got a small cult following, but it definitely deserves to be more well-known, and I really consider it one of the top Pokemon games out there, just on writing alone. It's not a hard game, but I mean, Pokemon isn't meant to be a difficult game series anymore. I can see some people getting a bit tired of the capture system since it doesn't change much throughout the game, but honestly, again, I think the story and dialogue far make up for the semi-repetitive capture and battle system. Now, I know I kind of just talked about the entire plot, but if you're curious about playing it yourself, there's so much I left out, and there's still a lot to discover about the game, so I highly recommend it. I'm being honest when I say I didn't even cover a third of what happens in the game, and there were a lot of funny moments I really wanted to talk about that I just didn't have room for in the script. I'm just trying to convince you to play the game yourself at this point, because I think it's just that funny of a game. But I'll stop. But here's all my stats after completing the game. It took me about 24 hours to complete it. I captured 734 Pokemon and ran away from 106. I think that's a pretty good ratio. And look, I drew a total of 9,077 loops. With that amount of practice, I bet I'm a master at drawing circles now.
Thanks for watching the video on me drawing circles for 20 hours. Huge thanks to the team for their hard work. This video was massive, and it turned out amazing. I've mentioned this before, but I've been enjoying the video game videos a lot, so if you have a weird game you think I should take a look at, let me know. A lot of people have already been requesting this game called Elite Beat Angels, which is some sort of rhythm game with male cheerleaders, which looks amazing, but I think that video would get mega copyrighted, so unfortunately I don't think I can play that on YouTube. It looks really good though if you want to check it out. Anyway, I don't have much to say this time, so see ya later. Toa. Hello everyone! So today we have a very, very special video. We just hit freaking 100,000 subscribers. What? And obviously we have to do something special. So I was digging through my closet a couple weeks ago and I stumbled upon some extremely old, very cringe-worthy drawings from when I was like tiny Jaiden to slightly teenager Jaiden. So I thought that maybe we could go through them and laugh at how horrible I was. And also Kate's here. Hello! So let's get through this. So obviously here, I was writing a... my mom wrote like the age of most of these. Oh, I was 7 when I drew this.
But the bird though, that's pretty good.
Yeah, the bird. Superman stance.
And like
and then my snake eyes. And this fashion sense right here.
Half blue, half pink.
I was like obsessed with stickers when I was little, so
I remember
like,
you were.
I would just have whatever stickers I could find and then just draw around them. We have the sun here, and they're all helping pull all my dogs on this leash that's defying gravity. And so are the clouds, and they have very inspirational quotes.
Do it! Just do it!
I was 7 here too.
Oh, I remember you had a stuffed animal. And
Yeah,
then you
I
had
was-
this house.
I was
stuffed animal.
obsessed with stuffed animals. And I drew, I was inspired by my animals. So I always drew. I don't know.
What's this?
I have no idea. Satellite dish.
Looks a little dangerous.
I don't know. There's like a scorpion falling down. And I don't know if he's dying or he's Scorpion Jesus walking across the water. But it's funny because I remember drawing like most of these when I was little. So it's like nostalgia fest everywhere.
Oh my god. Is this Squidward? He's like, is he on his hat? What the heck? Oh no, that's not a comfortable place to be sitting.
So we have this beautiful masterpiece of SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs over here. And the whole scenery and Squidward's situation. Another SpongeBob. This one's a little bit more action-packed.
Oh my god, Sandy looks like a dinosaur.
Sandy the dinosaur. Sandy... What?
Water
Sandy.
out for clouds?
Sandy, water out for clouds. Sandy, watch out for clouds.
Oh.
And then Sandy
With
is
an
up
E.
here.
How old?
How old? Oh, on the back it said Happy Halloween. Sorry if it's like not in the camera view. We're just, yeah. So I was 7 back here too. Obviously a child artist prodigy.
Oh, that cat.
This one's from you, Kate.
Oh
Look.
my gosh.
She wrote her name so tiny on
That's really small.
Look how beautiful.
Our hands and our arms are just greatly placed.
Beautiful cat growing from the ground.
What in the world is that? It's like a ghost sheepdog. Was this a big mouse?
I have no idea. I like the clouds, the expression on the clouds. Oh! Oh! I remember when I was really little, I had like an obsession with making books, and Scruffy was my old dog. So this is a Scruffy pop-out book with staples on the side, the best quality. So, so now we have like an accordion, that's what they called it. Pop-out book. Can you see that pop-out? That is phenomenal. And again with the title, Scruffy Pop-Out Book, just in case you missed it. Oh, so we have Doghouse, In-house.
Dog in the house.
With that amazing 3D pop-out. Next page.
Oh.
Doing a handstand.
Layer.
And then I felt the need to label every single part of his body. Oh, this is like showing the leg. So ear,
Ear.
leg, eye, leg, tail, and leg. And that is my first book that I've ever published. This is another one from Kate. Oh, look how tall the flowers are compared to us.
We look like we're like crazed.
And then, thank you for being my friend from Kate to Jaiden. We were actually, you guys probably don't know this, but we've known each other since we were 4. I would always do this type of thing where I drew something and then I'd like feel the need to color it in with multiple colors. And look at this spacing. Jaiden and Kate. I don't know what this one is. I'm like
She's
climbing
going up the stairs
with her basket.
That's pretty cool.
To Mom, Dad, Scruffy, and Jackson. I like how I put my dog in front of my own brother.
Oh, this one's not too bad.
I don't know what's going on in this picture here.
They're all like angry about these
very emotional clouds after this cheetah family and their little babies. Oh, he's saying, Chewie did it. And then he's like,
oh, the sun.
I did it.
What did they
He's
do?
the sharp teeth. I have no idea. This is my old wish list from when I was
Oh my
little.
God.
Like whenever we had like Christmas, and we didn't just like we had 3 things to ask for. 3 wishes for the world, 3 wishes for the family, and for myself. So obviously here, I was asking for a gym mat, a SpongeBob game, which is like those really old school plug and play games, and then some drawing books. But also, in the wishes for the world, I said, never fitting.
Fighting.
Oh, never fighting.
Everyone stays healthy.
Everyone stays healthy. Everyone stays happy on Earth.
Oh, that's very good, Jaiden.
I was such a giving child. For family, I put everyone loves each other.
Eat each other. Everyone eats each other.
Everyone says, "Oh wow, I was really wanting everyone to stay healthy." Again with
You're
the Chewy
obsessed
stuff.
with Chewy.
This is like some rainbow power here. Also, I remember doing that. I'd also like put my name in the corner and then highlight it with a color.
Make sure everyone knows you did it.
Yeah. No one steal this original artwork.
Oh, you're 8 now.
I was
so
8.
You're getting better.
I was improving. I don't think this is mine.
This one's my favorite.
But here's Otis and
Otis.
Froggy and Steve and Pecker. And this guy is saying hi. Oh dear. So it says in bold words, "To mommy and dad from Jaiden." And I have a cat, a pet cat, that I can't have in real life because I'm allergic. And also, I have these wonderful double pants going on. I would like fold my drawings in the most ridiculous, tiny, squarish ways. So like I like deliver it to the person and be like, "Look here, I drew this thing," and it's like origami, tiny miniature square. Oh, well, this is when we went to church. It is Christmas Eve. We are at church in mommy and daddy's room, and Scruffy's at home.
All right.
So here's Scruffy, and then here's church with loudspeakers or windmills.
Those are scary.
And I remember like drawing these hands like this is like 3 pointers. This is again at church, but I remember like you'd have to like draw. Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh my god. Okay, so like doing a hand thing, and then my friend like reached over my hand and like dotted her marker on my paper. And I was like, "No, don't do that." So I scribbled it out, and then she kept doing it, and then I kept scribbling it out.
Oh my god.
This is from Kate.
That's a scary bunny.
Oh my gosh. I actually still have this stuffed animal. Let me go get it. There he is. You can see the attention to detail that I had in here. And then again with the bird who's just flying without having to
I
fly.
think that one's better. Good job. Oh, there he is again.
Oh, here he is again, yeah. And then it looks like we're on top of
Graves.
gravestones
Oh my god.
with my
Yay,
very long legs.
somebody died. Who's that?
Here's Jax.
He doesn't get to stand on a grave.
He gets to stand on the grass. Here's another one. And I drew the sun underneath the sky. The
Another bird.
What if this is how I drew myself, like, on this channel? Hello, everyone!
That was good.
Oh god. And I was 10 here.
Yeah.
2007. Okay, so, excuse me while I cringe a bit. I also like making my own little characters.
Oh, I did too. I remember that.
Yeah, so this was Saturn the Bat, and he had 2 different colored wings, which made him very special.
Oh my gosh, I remember these characters. I remember looking at them and being like, "Oh my god, that's so good."
This is Steve. This was like, I made like 10 tiny books out of him. And this is probably one of the first characters that I ever made. This is a stick man called Iggy, and I would like play around with making expressions with just eyes. And then here are my characters. The 3 that you just saw, and then 2 others. And then here they all are dancing.
This is good. I like this one.
Okay, so I remember thinking when I was little, I'm gonna draw all the Animal Crossing characters in the whole game and their house.
God.
And that didn't last very long because I only did 1.
Oh, you wanted this bird.
I've wanted this bird. I still want a bird, but not this one. Where's his other leg?
I know, that's what I was wondering, actually.
I was very proud of the branch that he was sitting on.
Yeah, it's a good branch.
No, it's not.
Oh, this one's good. How old were you?
I was like on a bird craze. I think I drew this at the same time as the other
It's
one.
a good one.
Yeah. This is a cockatiel. It's okay. The legs are kind of wonky. This is how I used to draw birds. It was like my own style of drawing birds. Here's like an example of my comic book that I would like draw comics all the time. So there's an alien and he somehow gets transported into Earth. He's like, "Oh no, I need to get back to my old planet. Oh no." And then there's a human.
You look cool.
You look so cool. And he's like, "No." And then so he's like, "Oh, I need to go back to my old planet." And then the human's like tagging along. And he's like, "No, you can't come with me." And then apparently she does anyway.
And he has to let her, I guess.
And something bad happens and he kicks a tree. And then he finds the portal and he goes back home.
To his computer. Good.
Yay.
Good ending.
Most of society. And let me also point out that I had 2 other ones like this.
Oh my god.
And they were exactly the same story.
Really?
Just with different characters.
Oh my gosh.
I remember doing this in an art class. I drew mice all the time. And I was 10 here. We're getting older. I think the, thing of the project was to use a bunch of different patterns and write your name. Yeah. That's pretty cool. I think this was for
Looks like
art
his circulation
class,
got
too.
cut off in certain places.
This was art class in 6th grade. And she's like, okay, draw a castle. And I was like,
That's
"Well."
a good one.
And then there's I always had something funny going on in the picture. So there's a little guy who's like, wrong address. Okay, so here we have the power of Switch. Oh, and up here it says I'm 12. So here's my character that I made, Switch. Apparently he can transform, and I went crazy with all the dots here. So here's his electric version, and here's his water transformation, Flow. He's got a nice mermaid tail.
Oh, that's nice.
And
Oh no. That's
Okay,
his high
so-
version.
keep in mind, I was 12. I didn't know what weed meant. I was just thinking oh, I can't have a name be grass. Let's just think of what else is grass. Oh, weed.
Oh no.
So, I remember doing this one. I would
That's really good.
I'm a very patient
Detail.
person.
Yeah, seriously.
If you can't tell, I'm very patient. Yeah.
Look
all
at
these
all of
little
that.
stars are drawn by me. And then there's kind of a random dude sitting on a bench here.
He looks like this is what he's saying. He's
He
high
he
again.
encountered that weed character.
Yeah.
Here, I was getting a little bit more serious. So, I don't know if this will pick it up, but it was a bird. I remember finishing this, I was like, wow, I'm really proud of this. And it's okay, the wings don't really make sense, but I was 13 here. And here's another character that I was
like that one.
obsessed with, a bipedal wolf. And he's aggressive here, and then he's sitting down, aggressive.
Aggravated.
Aggravated. When I had binders, I'd always want to draw a wallpaper for
Superman
them.
sheep.
And I wanted to do a sheep one. So this was in my binder. Here's a kangaroo that I never finished.
A dinosaur in pajamas.
A dinosaur in pajamas. And then there's a little fangirl.
Oh my
It's
God.
he's so lovable. And then I like the little stick arms. I had a book that was look how to draw. And then I would just trace everything from it.
Oh.
So these are all traced. There's nothing wrong with tracing because that's how I started. I traced this raccoon, but I drew the rest.
I got the little flies.
Yeah, there's
Go
little
into it.
there's little fireflies and
Cute.
I was how do I draw trees? And I was oh. I still don't know how to draw trees. Remember
This is from a manga book.
Yeah, I was obsessed with this
You were.
book. It was
Yeah.
about this guy who recycled his bottle and then it came to life and it was his pet. I drew random sceneries when I was bored. And I didn't finish them.
I like this one.
It was a kid who had his ice cream.
Okay.
And there was a disaster going on in the background. And then there was a grown man who dropped his ice cream.
Oh my god, his beard.
I remember only knowing how to draw dogs. So that's all I would draw. And this is a bunch of dogs all over this person who's puppies! I wanted to give the internet browsers a persona for some reason. So here's Google. So here's Google Chrome, and she's got her
Oh
little
my
alien.
gosh.
And then here's Firefox.
When was this?
I don't know. I think it was maybe a year or 2 ago. And then here's Internet Explorer. She's oh no, I'm too slow.
Oh, that was cute.
Yeah, here's a cat I drew, and I was messing around with the stripes. It kind of turned out cute.
I really like that one.
Cute. Here's when Jaiden Animations was not even a thing yet. This was when I was just dreaming of starting a YouTube channel. And this was how I was going to draw myself. You can see how much it has improved over the year, but that's like, I don't know. This is like weird because this is before the channel even started. And now looking back at it, when we're at 100,000, that's so weird. This is actually the first way I was going to draw myself. Would you guys still have the same impression of me if I drew myself like this? Trying to see what I wanted Jaiden Animations to look like. And look at that. There it is, right there. That's what I used. Then I don't know what this one is. It says, go away, I'm drawing.
Sounds pretty good right there.
This is like a funny dance, apparently.
I need more paper.
I need more paper. I remember I was like, oh, I don't have any regular printer paper, so I had to use lined ones. And then these were like my drawing notebooks. I always had like comics filled and filled with these characters I made. On the back here, let me also note that my brother was really into Michael Jackson.
Oh my god.
So on the back of my sketchbook, he wrote Michael, and it says music, artist, identical, cool, hi, awesome, eats good, and learns well.
Wow.
And J rocks.
Wow, because of all those things right there.
So that was going through my old drawings. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I found it very cringeworthy. Thank you so much for helping us reach this huge milestone. It's really mind-blowing to think that we've come this far. So thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!
Raise your hand if you've ever sacrificed physical, mental, and or emotional health to overwork yourself into an extremely depressive state of mind that takes days to recover from in hopes to be happy with a result knowing it's probably not gonna be worth it in the end. If a friend came up to you and said, hey, I'm gonna go run 50 miles and refuse to eat, sleep, or take care of myself until I'm done, you'd be like, no, you doof, that's a horrible idea. You need sunscreen first. Overworking yourself has such a confusing interpretation right now. Everyone knows it's not good, but at the same time, it's also glorified. The best examples are in school or work environments. Dude, I had 6 hours of homework last night and didn't get to bed until 4 a.m. You think that's bad? The other week, I had 3 tests to study for, so I pulled an all-nighter and only drank coffee for 2 days straight. I have not slept for a week. My blood flows with Red Bull and Xanax. When someone's driven to work exceptionally hard, obviously that's really admirable. But when they start forfeiting self-care in place of hard work, that's when you start crossing into the realm of pain and uncontrollable suffering. Yeah, but enduring the pain and pushing forward is super strong. No. Admiring something that's stupid and unhealthy isn't commendable. Instead of encouraging it, tell your brain, hey, no, bad. Not on the carpet. Your emotions start to chop and change more, your mental health starts to deteriorate, you snap more at things that aren't big deals, everything feels like you're playing sudden death mode in Smash Bros. Honey, I brought you some lemonade. Everyone is going to experience burning themselves out in some sort of way. That's part of life. If you don't, you're either perfect or the devil. And I don't trust either of those, so stay back. I've been slowly losing my sanity from overworking myself ever since I dropped out of college, which was 2 years ago. It's the type of thing that slowly creeps in, and you only start to notice it when your insides have already deteriorated by 30% and your insanity stat has reached level 10. Burnout is caused by 3 main variables: depersonalization, where you don't feel in control of yourself anymore, emotional exhaustion, and a lost sense of achievement. Wow, Jaiden, you're so smart! Ha! Yep, you know me. I'll research anything all day just to educate the people. After a long time of feeling like a very sad shell of a person, I started seeing a therapist. So the first day I came in, she just asked some basic questions to get to know me and my situation. And she got to the question, what would you describe your average daily schedule to be? And I was like, alright, that seems simple enough. So I wake up around 8:30, have a small snack, work out for like 30 minutes, and start working. So I work until lunch, and then I go back to work. Yeah. And I work until dinner, and then I work
until I go to sleep. And when's that? 1 a.m. Yeah, I see the problem now. I was and still am struggling with the mindset of, if I'm not working, I'm being lazy. And the fact that I work for myself in my own home and am my own boss doesn't help at all. Taking a break to play games? But I could be working. Eating dinner? I could be working. Sleeping? But I could be working. Working? But I could be working harder. I'm not saying this just for you, but for myself. It's okay to take personal time for yourself. Don't work your life away! I'll take a break when I'm dead. Frick. Never got to come up with a funny tombstone. I asked a bunch of my friends about their experiences with overworking themselves, and they were all like, oh yeah, burnout is torture and can go frickin' suck a jellyfish. Their stories consisted of not sleeping for hours or days on end in exchange for more time to work, denying themselves food or water until they finished something, breaking for a minute to go to the bathroom only to go right back to work, snapping at friends or family for no reason. It sucks, because these aren't even uncommon experiences. It feels so good to be validated and admired for working hard, but there's a slippery slope there of accidentally forgetting to keep yourself alive and sane if you're not careful. I'm here to save you from yourself! What? What? Wait, I've got to study for final exams! No time! Go take a nap! 46% of Americans drop out of college anyway! I'm kidding. School is important. If you drop out, you don't get to use me as an excuse to your parents. But it's important not to die from burnout. Or in general. Don't ever die. I also asked my friends if overworking themselves negatively impacted their relationship with the end product, and there were two different interpretations. Some of them said, holy frick, yes, I hate that thing now. Stressing and pushing themselves too much made them sloppy and make awful mistakes. They cut more corners and agreed the final product suffered because of the pressure they put on themselves. Another friend, with better hair, described it as being a sick, twisted reward for unhealthy behavior. Of course, they were able to finish the project, which they wanted, but the steps they took to complete it led to painful burnout and definitely was more emotionally damaging than if workflow was more evenly distributed. My scientific conclusion? You suffer either way. Here, have some tips to not be emotionally damaged for a week after overworking yourself. Don't do too much of the same thing without any sort of change whatsoever. You're not a mindless work zombie in a hamster ball. Doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over is a formula for absolute misery. Atrox, who helps with animating the videos, had a good analogy, so I'm gonna steal it. So say you like chocolate. I do like chocolate. No one asked you. So imagine you hypothetically enjoy eating chocolate, but when you only eat chocolate and nothing else, you feel sick. That nauseous feeling in your throat and stomach that makes you want to lay down and throw up for the rest of the day. It's the same with anything else. Do more than just work and eat hypothetical chocolate all the time. 'Cause otherwise... Take time for self-care. Yeah, it sounds generic and straightforward. So then do it, you dummy! Spend time with yourself. Do something that'll refuel your juice tanks. When you're running on empty, you gotta take time to fill the tank back up to full. Don't just try to avoid the inevitable by pouring a little cup of gas in and hoping that'll tie you over. Enjoy yourself! I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at me, because I still have a really hard time with that one. Take a shower. You've probably been working for 5 days straight. Take a break from social media. Sounds cliche, but it works. Spend time with friends. If you have any. Do some stretches or something that includes moving your body. Exercise equals dopamine, which means less depression. Yay! Stick to a healthy sleeping schedule. If you're a farmer, I am a farmer. No one asked you. You gotta tend to a variety of fields instead of hyper-focusing on the same one every day. Push yourself to always be trying something new or focus on improving. It's easy to get stuck in the same grind of consistency. Everyone's a unique, special snowflake, but eventually your brain is gonna start craving something different, and if it doesn't get anything new, it throws a tantrum. You get more excited about things you're going to learn and get better at. Spice everything up. If you're a lumberjack, I am a lumberjack. Will you cut that out? You can't keep swinging your axe continuously at trees all the time. It'll start getting too dull and become difficult to keep going. You gotta take time to stop and sharpen your tools. Keep things balanced. You can create your best ideas when you're not stressed and overworked, and sad, and tired, and feel like poop. Wait, I thought you were a farmer. No one asked you.
Hey
Hey ho, it's me again. Hope you liked the video, and as a pact to myself, I promise to not pull any all-nighters while making it. I'm not sure about any of the other members of the team. If they did, they're fired. Anyway, big update. I moved to LA. I always thought I would live in Arizona my whole life and die of a heat stroke, but so many opportunities opened up to me in LA, and I've got so many great friends there, and I'm so freaking excited. Moving was a pain, and that's what I've really been busy with, but I'm mostly settled now. LA still intimidates me because the people here can be a lot, but I'm doing my best. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the videos. I'm excited about some projects in the works. Also, school is starting up again. Sucks to suck, and I wish you the best of luck, soldier. Maybe you can be the 54% of Americans that doesn't drop out. Anyway, thanks for sticking around, and bye.
For people who have been around for a while, you might be seeing the title and thinking, Jaiden, aren't you allergic to cats? And to that, I'd say, yes. Kind of. I'm actually not sure anymore. And for the people who know anything about me, you might see the title and think, Jaiden, cats are literally the #1 natural predator to birds. And to that, I also say, yes, that one's 100% proven fact. So let me back up a bit and explain how we got here, because all the cards in the world were stacked against the idea of me getting a cat. Growing up, I was irrefutably and absolutely allergic to cats. My best friend had like 3 of the things, and every time I would hang out or sleep over at her house, I would be a sneezy, watery-eyed, snotty mess. Can I have some water? Given the fact my brother was also allergic to cats, it was set that we were a dog family. My whole life I went around not giving cats a second thought. I never had anything actually against them, but since I was forced to stay 20 feet away from them or suffer the consequences, I just couldn't get to know them. Plus, as a kid, dogs were always more appealing. They're more likely to be bigger fans of playing and running around, be more approachable with their genetically bred unconditional love, and can overall be more forgiving. Cut to like 2 catless decades for me later, and I'm meeting Jacob for the first time at his place. As we're hanging out in his living room, his cat Fraser comes over and greets me. Fraser is extremely social and vain, so he's always expecting nothing less than a never-ending stream of attention from the people. Even though he's very cute and distinguished, I deployed my typical foolproof plan of don't touch the cat. Fraser realizes he's not getting any attention out of me and sits down nearby on the couch, but a bit later, Jacob's other cat ends up making an appearance. This one's Taylor. She's normally really shy and hides, but does really like women, which I am. Taylor ended up crawling onto me and making herself really comfy in my womanly lap. Jacob, knowing I'm allergic, offered to take her away, but this was actually the first time a cat has ever done something like this to me. I've always been a bit of a cat magnet, if you want to call it that, because I act like they don't exist, which they interpret as me not pushing their boundaries and creating a comfortable environment for them to come up to me on their own terms. But never have I felt like a cat has chosen me like this before. I told Jacob I'm happy to let her stay comfortable on me, and I'll just reap the consequences of my sewing later on. This was my first extremely positive experience with the cat, and I honestly felt really happy and special and wanted to enjoy it. A few hours later, I'm saying my goodbyes, and during the drive back home, I realized I was completely fine. No sneezing, no itchy eyes, straight up nothing. I was so confused and curious. Thus, the start of my little cat experiment began. Every time I went over to Jacob's place, I would let the cats be as social as they wanted with me. If Taylor wanted to sit by me, I'd let her. If Fraser wanted attention, I would pet him. At one point, while we were watching a movie, Taylor literally decided to lay down on my neck, filling every one of my breaths with cat dander and hair. And you know what happened? No reaction. Not even a little drip of mucus. Sometime, I'd grown out of my cat allergy and never noticed. Apparently, every 7 years, people's allergies have the chance to change. Maybe being surrounded by my friends' cats all throughout my childhood could have helped my body get more familiar with them. Either way, I've now unlocked the skill to survive cats. Oh, guys, it was incredible. Now that I'd been freed from my shackles, I immediately started taking time to get to know cats more. Instantly, they felt so much more cute and and cool and approachable, and I was really starting to like them more, especially since every time I would hang out at Jacob's place, Taylor would walk over and be around me and purr, and it was amazing to be loved by a cat. So I really like cats now. And after some time, I decided I wanted one too. Jacob and I decided to peruse a local cat rescues website just to see what cats were available. I don't want to get one right away. There's a lot I have going on, but it doesn't hurt to— oh my god, that one! I want that one so bad. It's so cute. What's its name? Tostada? Tostada, my beloved. We have to send in an application. We have to. Hi, my name's Jaiden. I love this cat. Please let me adopt it. Please. What? You guys know me. I'm weak-willed and impulsive. My first mistake was liking cats to begin with. The rescue reached out a few days later for a cat screening interview to make sure we would be a good fit to be cat parents. After being approved, they told us we could pick any cat we wanted that was in their care. Of course, I asked about Tostada, but we were given the unfortunate news that she had already been adopted. No! We looked at the other cats available on their website, but unfortunately none of them really stood out to me. The rescue ended up inviting us to a little Meet the Cats event they were hosting where we could see all the cats they had up for adoption in person, which was awesome because that was actually the first time I'd ever actually seen and held a kitten before. It was amazing. But as cute and tiny as they all were, there still wasn't one that called to me. I pried Jacob away from the kittens, headed home, and we started waiting. Every day I would check the rescue's cat list to see if any new ones caught my eye. I didn't even know what I was looking for, but waited for the universe to send me my perfect cat nonetheless. One morning I refreshed the page and saw one new kitten added. A tortie they found in some dumpster named Scrabble, with the biggest eyes and forehead I'd seen in my life. Something about this bizarre little creature called to me. I messaged the rescue about Scrabble and they told me she's available, putting me in touch with Scrabble's foster parents. Every day they sent me new little pictures of kitten Scrabble, and every photo I fell more and more in love with her. She seemed so silly and playful, and those eyes. We got on a video call and they told me all about how big of a personality she has. Out of the 5 other kittens they were fostering, she was by far their favorite. The whole time we were talking, Scrabble was flipping around in their arms and looking at the camera with her giant orbs. I left that call knowing I found my cat. I needed to have little kitten Scrabble. Meeting her in person only cemented it. She was shy at first, but after flinging around her worm toy, she immediately started hopping around and being the life of the party. I talked a lot to her foster parents and they just gushed about how they wish they could keep her since they all loved her so much. Even though the rescue called her Scrabble, obviously that was more of a placeholder name. The foster parents called her Cammy, but neither of those really fit to me. However, I knew one name that I liked. Tostada. Yeah, I stole another kitten's name and pasted it on mine. So what? Big deal. Tostada is a great name. My Tostada is way more of a tostada than the other Tostada anyway. Look at her. I would have left with little Tostada in my arms that moment if I could. But unfortunately, Jacob and I were going out of town for 3 million weeks and had to wait to take her home until after we came back. She was all I could think about the entire time. I was shoving Tostada photos in everyone's face every chance I got. The foster parents were sending Tostada updates every day. I was overflowing with yearning for this cat. She was growing and learning about the world without me. Take me home to my child. Literally, the moment Jacob and I landed, we drove straight from the airport to the foster home to pick her up. I could not wait. We arrived home with +1 Tostada. I couldn't believe it. I have a mammal now. And sorry, other mammal owners, but it's the best mammal in the whole wide universe. Jacob and I spent the entire day playing with her, letting her get used to her new surroundings. She was so cute and so tiny. Here's a video of her eating wet food with a big old chomp. As someone who's owned birds for 7 years at that point, it felt so strange to have a pet that was significantly less fragile. And also draws significantly less blood. You mean this thing can't fly up and get hit by the ceiling fan? Insane! I've had Tostada for a while now. She's 2 years old at the time of me posting this, and let me tell you, this thing has become a creature. First of all, eyes, still giant, and she never blinks. Look at this. She was sitting on my desk looking like that long enough for me to notice, get my phone out of my pocket, pull up the camera app, put the camera in her face, and take a photo. And here's like 4 more. She is also not that smart. I'm sure you could deduce that by how she looks, but this thing has a single brain cell and it's just another version of herself up there with a joystick. Jacob and I are fully convinced she can only form a few thoughts a day and only in single word nouns. Evidently, Tostada is also very scared of everything, always has been. Loud noises, quiet noises, no noises, movement of any kind. Even Jacob, a person she's been around all her little life post dumpster. There's been times where he'll be at his desk, moves his chair just a smidge, and she's darting out of the room. One time we were trying to explain to some friends how skittish she genuinely can be, and demonstrated it by grabbing a toy literally in front of her, raising it up a bit, lightly dropping it on the floor, still in front of her, and she bolted. You know how cats are genetically built to be good at balancing? Well, Tostada can't even do that. She trips and falls and misplaces her feet all the time. On multiple occasions, she has tried to walk across my L-shaped desk and just missed and fell down. That's like the one thing that makes a cat, and nope, doesn't hit the mark there either. She's gotten better, but as a kitten, Tostada couldn't even jump. After I built her first cat tower, I watched as she attempted to jump up to the 2nd level, not quite make it, and had to slam her arms down on the thing to hoist herself up like she was mountain climbing. But oh, is she the sweetest little thing. When I got a cat, I was expecting it to want its own space, come around when it wants, you know, general cat things. But this creature follows me from room to room with those high beams of hers. She sits on my lap while I'm at my computer, lays on my giant Pokemon plushes, mostly just looks up at me from the floor and just stares. When I'm sleeping, she'll just crawl into bed and tuck herself up right next to me. Look at all these photos of her straight up on me when I'm sleeping. Don't look too close though, I don't have makeup on. Bedtime is sacred to her. She loves bedtime. If I'm working late, Tostada will come into my office around 9 or 10 p.m., aka past Tostada bedtime, and just start crying, scratching on my chair, rolling around on the floor. It's pitiful. And if I still don't move after that, she'll go into the bedroom and drag over her string toy she always plays with. It's just so sad and pathetic. I always play string with her when she brings it over though, don't worry. But lately, she's picked up another routine habit, which is pats. Not all cats like the pats, but Tostada lives off them. It's when you just slap a cat's butt and it looks like you're hurting them, but they actually love it. However, Tostada's really particular about pats. First of all, I'm the only one allowed to give her pats. Jacob has tried and she runs away scared and offended every single time. Second, she has to receive pats on a specific spot on the floor of the closet. If I try to give her pats in like my office, she bolts to her floor spot, staring at me to continue them over there. Also, she begs to be pat every single night. Like clockwork, she'll sit like a gargoyle in front of the closet and cry pitifully until I come over there. Now, when I finally come over for pats, she'll flop on the floor and start horizontally rock climbing her way across the floor with her claws and tangle herself up in the Ethernet cables while I keep up the pats. You think I'm joking, but I'm very much not. This is the only way she accepts pats, and I have to give them to her every night or else she's miserable. Tostada's world is so small. She's really just around me, Jacob, Taylor, and Frasier, but she loves her simple family so much. When Kitten Tostada first met Frasier, she was terrified of him. She'd been around other adult cats before, but she'd never seen a flat cat in her life, and she was mortified. Of course, she's since warmed up to him, and they play together and hang out all the time, they're best friends, but Tostada loves Taylor. Always has. She looks up to Taylor like a little baby sister admiring her cool, awesome older sibling. Unfortunately, Taylor hates it. They literally have a SpongeBob Squidward type of sibling relationship, and Tostada is so oblivious to it. Taylor has annoyingly swatted at Tostada so many times just for existing around her that Tostada now thinks it's a fun little game they play and will start chasing and swatting back at Taylor happily, not understanding cat social cues. Of course, never in a way that's too far, but just enough to get on Taylor's nerves even more. Between the 3 of them, they all have such different little personalities and relationships to each other. It's made our lives so much more entertaining. And to anyone concerned about the birds, Don't worry. I've got Ari and Tofu very separated from the cats. They're safe in their own blocked off room connected by a double door system that ensures no possible interaction between bird and cat. If anyone is thinking about getting cats and birds as pets, it is possible, but just make sure the two are very separate, especially if you have smaller birds like conures or budgies. I'm sure there's people out there that have trained their cats to be fine around a pet bird, but to me, all it takes is one accident or attack for you to just not have a bird anymore. Plus, having the two of them takes a huge amount of time and commitment. I've said it before and I'll say it forever. I love my birds to death, but they do not make good pets for the very large majority of people. In terms of allergies, I do think I was originally still a little bit allergic to Tostada, ironically. When I first got her, I was sneezy and sniffling. Nothing allergy pills couldn't fix, and it never was as bad as my original cat allergy. But I think I've been growing out of that one too, because nowadays I don't have any reaction to her at all. Bodies are a mystery. I am building my immunity to everything. Next up is rat poison. I didn't think I would make a video talking about this thing, but Tostada's just got such a funny little personality and has become such a big part of my life. She may be the description of autism, but I love her more than the world itself, and I know I'm the center of her little life too. I don't even see her as a cat. She's just a little creature that follows me around looking weird, but I love it, and I'm so glad I grew out of my cat allergy just so I can have her. It really has been so different owning a cat, mainly because I know Tostada won't just bite me at any given chance, unlike some avian creatures. Thanks for watching the video. Heads up, I'm going to be announcing new merch again soon, so be on the lookout for that. The last drop went so well, and I'm really glad that so many of you guys enjoyed it. I'm so excited to finally be getting back into making fun merch, and it really helps me out a lot. Alright, sorry, thanks. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. I know absolutely nothing about Digimon. Pokemon is my entire life, so why would I need to branch out? Well, I happen to be a very open-minded person, and the only way to prove that is to play a Digimon game for the first time. I wanted to see if, putting all my bias aside, I could bridge the gap between the two, and they could live together in harmony in my tiny little brain hobby drawer. So thus began my journey on finding the perfect Digimon game to start out with. At first, I didn't think that would be a difficult feat. Every community kinda has the general agreed consensus on what media is best to consume as a newcomer, right? All it takes is a quick Google search, I play what the internet people tell me, and now I'm a Digimoner. Well, apparently not here. I've come to realize that it's a bit complicated for them. Everywhere I looked, there were threads upon threads of people trying to agree on what Digimon game is even good in the first place. Pretty much every comment I read said something along the lines of, "This game is pretty good, yeah, except for these things," or "This game is great, if you can look past these extremely annoying mechanics." Every time I thought I had a lead on a game, I would look further into it and realize a lot of people actually had a lot of complaining to do. And it wasn't even angry complaining, it seemed like I've walked in on a fandom that has just been hurt over and over, and they're really trying to hang on to something and believe in the good of the franchise, but they've just been put through a lot. You know, kind of like the Sonic fandom. I've never had to do so much research just to find a single game in a franchise that people can just all agree is good. People were talking about how they like Digimon World, but apparently it's like a tedious and frustrating Tamagotchi game where you just start over if they die. Digimon World 2 is apparently a dungeon crawler, but extremely grindy and complicated, and I read a lot of people complaining about it just being bland. People said Digimon World 3 is a typical RPG, but the battles get tiring and annoying, lots of backtracking and never feeling like you get anywhere. Digimon World 4, Digimon World Championship, the list goes on and on. Con after con. I spent multiple research sessions searching, even opted for a last-ditch effort by asking, Twitter. Everyone was saying different things. No one seemed to be able to agree that there was just one game that was overall good and easy to start with. And Digimon fandom, if there truly is a good game out there, you guys need to start pitching the franchise better. You made this difficult. I will say it seemed like the majority of people enjoyed Digimon Cyber Sleuth, but the thing is,
That's not really the type of game I wanted to play for the channel. It looks like it's got more of a Persona 5 vibe that focuses more on the story and characters and stuff. That's just what I've read, I don't know. Either way, it wasn't the fit for what I'm looking for. I'm sure I would love it as a casual playthrough, but it just didn't hit my content checklist. All this research led me to a game I decided to settle on. Digimon World Dawn. It didn't seem perfect. I saw complaints with it, but I thought, you know, it seemed like the same amount of complaints other Digimon games were getting, and there were enough people talking positively about it. I figured I could look past the criticisms, maybe even if I was aware of them beforehand, they wouldn't bother me too much. And plus, I thought it looked nice. I like the pixel art, and I'm a sucker for good pixel art. So after all that, all the research, knowing the flaws beforehand, having a positive mental attitude, I settled on a good enough Digimon game, right? Something at least playable, right? As much as I want to say yes, this was one of, if not the most miserable video game experiences I've ever forced myself to go through. And that isn't even as a biased Pokemon player, that's as an enjoyer of fun. I was aware of Digimon World Dawn's criticisms, I knew what I was getting myself into, yet despite all the warnings, all the positive outlooks, all of the manifesting to be able to frolic hand in hand with both the Digimon and Pokemon franchises together in a beautiful field of 1,000 sunflowers, it was just awful. It started out lighthearted. I tried to put my name in and realized they only allow 5 characters for the main character's name. So I'm Jaiden. Before any gameplay, I'm given 4 different packs of 3 Digimon. The Balance Pack, Attack Pack, Speed Pack, and the Japanese Pack. And honestly, I was shocked to see how huge and powerful they all looked. Look at these big men! Pokemon starters don't look like this. This is awesome! I chose the Attack Pack because the big worm guy was my favorite, and then the game forces me to nickname all my Digimon. It's not an option, and if I try to name them their original Digimon names, I can't, because they don't give me enough characters. Again, out of everything I read about this game, this is hilariously not mentioned in anyone's criticism list. I don't know if it's a Digimon thing, or I don't know. So here I, Jaiden, am with my Charmon, Tony Tiger, and Big Worm. I'm not even given a chance to breathe before I'm thrown into this Digimon gang tournament, having to fight for my Digimon and friends' lives and glory, in an environment I'm not even sure how to comprehend. Like, first of all, where are we? This sure doesn't look like the States. Or Japan, I think. Also, what is a Digimon? I win by figuring it out, kind of, not really. Still don't know what's going on. And then win a few more times before the tournament is over, and our team or gang or something, Light Fang, is the winner. Yay, Jaiden! You won the tournament for us! What's going on? Oh my god, what the f is that? In a complete twist in story direction, a genuinely terrifying virus of death spawns and starts turning all the Digimon into Digi-Eggs. Including mine. I checked my guys, and Charmon is the same. Tony Tiger is a bit smaller. But Big Worm is a dinosaur now. He's not a big worm anymore. Now his cleverly tailored nickname doesn't make any sense. How was I supposed to know I was getting fully grown Digi-Guys, and they were gonna turn them back to small Digi-Guys again, and Big Worm starts off as a lizard? That's like the opposite of how evolution works. I knew I didn't know anything about Digimon, but after the past 5 minutes, I've realized I am completely out of my element. I go up and fight the horrific demon virus that I'm IRL scared of, and despite still not knowing what the hell I'm doing, I end up winning, even with my little Digibabies. The virus deuces out, and the head of the Lightfang clan, this Glare guy, that's his name is Glare, is like, this is so weird. Go climb a mountain and look around or something, I guess. I'm sent out to look for virus clues at Login Mountain and run into my Lightfang friend, Kenpa, who's like, I don't know what happened. We got here and all the wild Digimon started attacking me and the other members. They left me behind to be mauled with no escape equipment. I'm fine now, but I think I'm just gonna go back to the city. She does that, and I start traversing the mountain. And this is where I experience my first complaint that everyone was talking about in this game. All the dungeons and areas and stuff are mazes. They're all mazes with absolutely bonkers wild Digimon encounter rates. You don't have a mini-map to know where you're going or where you even are any point of the dungeon. And there's no item to avoid the random encounters. Basically, I am realizing this is like playing a Pokemon game, but the whole game is a maze. You never know where you are because maps don't exist. Everything is wild grass, and there's no repels. I think I chose the wrong game. I end up stumbling my way to the top of the mountain. At least I think it's the top. I have no idea where I am and never will. And the other two guys who left a defenseless little girl to be roasted over a Digifire are getting beat up by a Digi-Eagle. I knocked the bird in the head hard enough to make him come to his senses, and he apologizes for being mean, which is more than I expected, to be fair. And the guys are saved. By the way, I didn't know that Digimon spoke. I didn't know that they spoke to the people and talked and interacted. It's weird to me. And I never quite got over it. We return to the city and everyone's like, great job, Jaiden. And then suddenly I'm left alone with absolutely no idea what to do or how to continue progressing. I'm trying to figure out if I have to like talk to someone or walk into the right room and someone's like, Jaiden, we're all being traumatically and irreversibly turned into Digi-Eggs over here. Or something, I don't know. And I do want to make sure you guys know that even the main hub is a maze. The amount of time I spent trying to figure out where I even am in the supposed safe space of the city overworld was pure comedy and frustration. Why is everything in this game perfectly designed to try and make me never open my DS ever again? I am just wandering around, walking in what I am 60% sure is a circle, left in the dark on what actions I need to take to keep playing a game I no longer want to play. I look it up and figure out that if I want to progress the story, I need to earn it. I have to walk into this building, talk to the Digi-Clerks, and complete multiple useless side quests that have nothing to do with anything to unlock another chunk of the main game. And let's not forget, all the dungeons are mazes. I said that already, but I want to reiterate. I have to go through mazes, sometimes multiple times, to unlock the important maze. But only for a little bit, after I earn just a biscuit, just a crumb of that sweet, sweet story nectar. I'm humbled yet again by being told to go play more errand boy in more pointless mazes as the cycle continues. Surely this game is not serious. Surely this game didn't get an overall average to decent rating on multiple game review sites. Surely the people who said this game was pretty good, all things considered, were secret enemies hoping to pull innocent victims into their dark, dark digiweb, looking to either break the weak or torture the strong. What is going on? Am I the only one who thinks this game was meant to be given to hostages to torture information out of them? I'm 3 hours in and I'm straight up ready to spill my mother's maiden name. And I still don't even know how to play the thing or what a Digimon is, because no, I do not want to read a Bible's worth of tutorials. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be the first person to use a Nintendo DS to kill a man. Let me cut this whole show short and just tell you the entire non-fluff plot of the game. Evil Fountain of Youth of Death virus turns all the Digimon into Digi-Eggs. Lightfang Clan thinks Nightcrow Clan is behind it because their chief is acting strange. Nightcrow Clan thinks Lightfang Clan is behind it because their chief is acting strange. The two realize neither of them are behind it because they've been mind-controlled to act strange. They find out there's an evil Digimon virus thing behind it all. Jaiden beats it up. It fades away and credits roll immediately. Bruh. How long did it take me to experience that story? 15 in-game hours. And I was cheating! I was using speed up and EXP codes and guides and ibuprofen. That time could have easily tripled if I was being a good little squeaky clean angel playing the game in its purest, most intended form. But if I did that, I would have thrown myself into the ocean. And even using all the resources I could find, it still was not a fun experience. Here's a clip of me trying to read a guide after my 5th time of being completely lost in a maze dungeon. If you've unlocked the Macro Sea, go there and head south, then go up and right to head to the south path leading to another screen, then go left after another screen, then go to the big bridge looking thing on the left. If you don't have the key, head south. Oh my god.
I didn't understand any of that.
I'm freaking out, dude. Not only was I subjected to maze after maze after maze, wild encounter after wild encounter, but throughout all of that, the game still expected me to do a cement mixer amount of grinding. No way, Jose! Do you know how many layers deep this agony cake is already? You want more? Sir, I am but a husk. As you can see, there's not a molecule of serotonin, dopamine, or endorphins in this lifeless body. There is nothing left for you to take. You have created a human raisin. I'm really sorry, Digimon fans. I really have nothing against Digimon as a whole. In fact, I absolutely loved a lot of the Digimon designs. When it comes to monsters and creatures, I have to admit, I am an edgy bitch. So I absorbed those guys like they were a little puddle of muddy water in a scorching barren desert. Because metaphorically speaking, that's what they really were to me. Look at all these fellas! I'm surrounded by everything I could ever want in a monster. Pokemon could never. Maybe Aggron. I even got Big Worm back. He's my friend forever. Despite all my efforts, I chose the wrong Digimon game. I really did try. I'm sorry I didn't play Cyber Sleuth. I didn't know the other option was 1,000 punches to the skull. Regardless of the pain this game has inflicted on me, I can, against all odds, say I am coming out of this experience a bit of a Digimon enjoyer. Maybe I still don't know a single thing about any of it, but I have some favorite guys. I think they're cool. This evil, evil game somehow didn't tarnish my view on Digimon as a franchise. I am damaged, but I forgive. One day I will play Cyber Sleuth and hopefully be able to commit to being a fully fledged Digimon fan. That's how I think it works. Until then, Digimoners, I'm worried about you. Please seek therapy.
Hello, thank you for watching another video. If you're still here, I would like to announce secretly that I have an announcement, and it's gonna be announced in a couple days, so stay tuned. Alright, cool. Thanks.
It's that time of year again. Ari turns 3 this year, which means he'll be dead in approximately 27 years if all goes according to plan. The clock's ticking, Ari. When are you gonna get a job? But for now, we can just focus on giving him a good birthday. Since he's still just a wee lad, he hasn't accomplished much yet. And the world is full of amazing treasures to be experienced, like making friends, or, I don't know, going to a park.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, Ari, look at you go.
Wow, look at you!
There you go.
Now, wasn't that fun? Getting back to the making friends part, believe it or not, Ari's actually made another bird friend. He's not as socially inept as I thought, since he hates everything but bells and spaghetti. My buddies Jordan and Kelsey also have a bird named Baby Jim, so when the two of them met, they became instant best friends. They snuggle and get each other's pin feathers and poop on my computer together. They're practically inseparable, and it's frickin' adorable. Except for the double poop. That part is not as good. Since it's Ari's special day, I thought we could make a nice dinner for them to celebrate together. I invited Jordan, Kelsey, and Joel too, but Joel, you're uninvited because I forgot Ari doesn't like you. Careful.
Ah! We got a bunch of party stuff, so Jordan, you're working on the spaghetti, so maybe Kelsey and I we can decorate the table.
Alright.
You got confetti. Want to sprinkle some on the table?
Well, I want to open it gently. I don't want it to just...
Kelsey!
No, you said... I think I got confetti in my eyes, guys. Aww.
You got a little heart.
Jordan, what's your spaghetti secret?
Garlic bread.
I got a lot of candles. They only came in packs of 24. Oh, it's the fanciest thing Ari's ever gonna be a part of.
Oh, it's so cute!
Ari. Get on the table. Oh no!
You have confetti in your spaghetti.
Wanna see it? No, it's spaghetti. Oh Oh no! You want spaghetti?
It's gonna have saucy feet. Oh, that's the good stuff, isn't it?
Oh, it's a good party after all.
Oh, good boy.
Oh, it's like Lady and the Tramp.
He's got spaghetti on his wing, right here.
Does he?
Yeah. I want to see what happens when they meet in the...
Oh, Ari just took the whole thing. Maybe it's time for cake. It's a bird cake. Want to know how I got the candle in? Oh, nope.
If we pretend to eat it, will he eat it?
Do you want to try and eat it?
It's like a UFO. Hey.
I'm getting styrofoam. We're good.
Get a piece.
Oh my god.
See, now you like it.
Oh, see, it's good.
Look at Ari, he's got his piece too.
We could just pretend that they're eating right next to each other.
There you go.
What if we take the plate away? Maybe he doesn't like gay. Oh, there we go. Go get it.
Get it, baby Jim.
Get it, baby Jim.
Why is there a staple? Ari, why do you have a staple? Want the toy? Why are you on the floor? Come here. Where are you going?
He's gone.
Bye, Ari.
Last year, we supported a local bird rescue with helping fund their renovations, which they were really thankful for. I followed up with Anika, who works there, and she said with the donations, they were able to revamp the electrical work and AC to be more stable, and are in the process of building more aviaries and a shed for extra storage. I was blown away with how much we were able to help, and I want to do something like that again this year. This time, I want to help out the Bird Gardens of Naples. They're a non-profit Florida-based organization that takes care of birds that need a home and prioritize education on general bird knowledge and care. They put a lot of time and effort into caring for the birds they have, and all the donations they receive get put back into the birds through vet bills, flight cages, toys, renovations. I asked them to set up a GoFundMe for this occasion, and if you donate at least $10 to it, you'll be entered into a raffle to win a special Ari's birthday shirt or an Ari plush. I'm giving away 20 shirts and 10 plushes, and they all come with a signed card. I've also donated $1,000 to the rescue as well. If you can't donate or want to do more, there's links on their website to volunteer, adopt or sponsor a bird, or just tour the sanctuary. I hope Ari enjoyed his birthday, even though he's a little brat poopy bite toddler. He's my buddy, and I love him very much. Hopefully we can celebrate by doing good things for the birds and eating spaghetti.
Hey guys, so I'm gonna start doing some Q&A videos so we can all learn about who I am and we can all be connected and friends and stuff. Anyway, okay, so the first question is, how old are you and what made you do animations? So, I've gotten so many questions. Are you in college? Are you in high school? How old are you? I'm 17, I'm in my last year of high school, so I'm going into college next year, but yeah. As for animation-wise, I really have no idea how I got into animation. I've always been drawing ever since I was little, and I just all of a sudden wanted to do animation, so I looked it up, I didn't take any classes, and I taught myself, and I'm not a professional at all. I'm pretty sure I'm doing everything wrong, so I don't think you guys want to learn from me. You should probably learn from a professional like I didn't do. When did you start animating? Now, this is a funny story. I'm sure you've all seen that terrible mother animation that I made for Cupquake, right? Yep, that was my first animation that I ever made in my entire life. Like I said, I'm not a professional at all. I just jumped straight into it. I did my best. I had no idea what I was doing, but it turned out pretty well. And I'm so glad that so many of you had such positive feedback and you loved it and you want more. And that's really what helps me grow as an animator. So thank you. Next question. Do you have anything big planned, like a long video or something? For this channel, no. But, as you guys know, I work for Cupquake, and the animation that we are working on right now is amazing. It's turning out so well, and I think you guys are gonna love it, maybe even more than Terrible Mother and Dino Killer, the other ones that we have out. It's different. It's a lot different from the Minecraft shorts, but it's my favorite out of all of them so far. It's probably not going to be out for a couple months because it's different. I'm trying not to give you guys any hints, but you're going to be wanting to watch it 5 days a week.
Trust me. Quickly, it's life or death. You have to pick between having hands for feet or feet for hands. Do it, at. Considering that I need my hands to be doing animation and drawing, I'll probably have feet for hands. No, I'm just kidding. Definitely hands for feet, no questions asked. But seriously, I've tried drawing with my feet before, and it is hard. Props to people with no hands, and they have to draw with their feet. Next up, are you ever going to vlog on your YouTube channel? Now, I'm taking this as, what do you look like? And I knew I was going to get this question eventually, but right now I'm only focusing on getting animations out because that's what I think is really important. I guess I can tell you a little bit on what I look like. My dad is white or Caucasian, and my mom is Japanese, and they both grew up in Canada, so I'm like white, Japanese, Canadian, but I also live in the US, so that's a little bit on my background. But who knows, maybe in the future I'll show you guys what I look like, but for now, no. Why do you make videos for Cupquake? Okay, this is something that a lot of you guys probably are wondering. I used to be just a fan of Cupquake. I just watched their videos, I was just a subscriber, that was it. But one day I decided to send in a fan art and they posted it on their channel and I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, they liked my art, I should send more. And they started kind of talking a little bit about it, and they also mentioned the fact that they were looking into animating some moments in their videos. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to animate, but I was thinking about learning how to animate. So I sent them a message. I said, hey, I kind of know the basics of animation, and they kind of already knew me by my art. So they're like, okay, what's your email? What's your Skype? Let's get in contact. Let's make this happen. And one thing led to another, and out came Terrible Mother, and you guys loved it so much, we just had to make more, and that's how this whole animation thing started. So that's why I'm telling you guys, you have to get yourself out there, because my whole career basically just started by sending in a fan art, which is a prime example why you don't know what possibilities are out there. You just need to pop your bubble and form the path that you want to take. What inspires you to draw or animate? And this is a really quick answer. It's you guys. All the support and all the love and comments you guys leave for me is the most inspiration that I could ever have. And you guys don't know this, but I really doubt myself when I make animations. On all my videos so far, I've always been working on it in the middle of working, and I just think to myself, I don't even know if this is funny. I don't even think that you guys are gonna like this. And I think about just starting over and doing something else, but I just post it and all the comments are so nice. There's a little bit of criticism, but it's like really good criticism, and it's like, maybe you should do this, and it's really nice, and you're all so polite, and that's really what inspires me. So as long as you guys help support this channel and me, then you guys are definitely going to be getting more animations. So thank you guys. I want to also thank you guys for 13,000 subscribers in 2 months. I have no words. That's beautiful. Thank you guys so much. Well, that's all the questions I'm going to answer for this video. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't. Also, if you want to be updated on the channel, know when I'm taking questions for more Q&A videos, or even getting a day in advance notification on when I'm posting an animation, follow me on Twitter at JaidenAnimations, and check out my DeviantArt where I post some of my drawings. Anyway, thanks for all the support and all the love, and I'll see you again later. Bye!
Yo, what's up, homesicles? I'm gonna talk about substitute teachers. I want to say, for the most part, we all like having subs. You walk into the classroom expecting it to be a normal day, and you glance over at the teacher, and boom, it's a sub. Yes, don't have to try today. Most subs are pretty cool. They don't really care too much either, and everyone just ends up having a nice easy break day. They have this attitude like, okay, so I'm just gonna pop in a movie or something. do whatever you want. I'm just here to make sure you don't all go Miley Cyrus wild and poke some kid's eye out with a ruler. But sometimes they don't care too much, and it gets kind of weird. Like, once I had a math sub where we were just doing a worksheet or something, and this girl behind me was eating carrots, but all of a sudden, she started choking on one of her carrots and was, like, gasping and gagging and stuff, and everyone turned around and was mortified. What do we do? We all looked over at the sub for help and guidance or something, because of all people, he should have a plan. And he was just looking at her, not doing anything. I'm sure if the girl could have spoke at that time, she would have said, "Freaking, I'm choking on a carrot here. What are you looking at? Do something, you buffoon! Ah!" So for a small period of time, everyone was just helplessly looking at this poor girl choking on a carrot. No one knew what to do. Finally, one guy got up and did the choking Heimlich procedure they teach us. It was so legit. He even did the "are you choking" question like they say you have to. If you haven't heard of the technique, or for some reason they changed it, the steps are: approach the person and ask, "Are you choking?" Do not proceed if they are not choking. It actually says that. Get behind the person and wrap your arms around their waist. Be ready to support them if they faint. Take your fist and place the thumb side against their belly, just above their belly button. Grab the fist with the other hand and thrust into the belly. And the final step is: repeat thrusts until the object pops out, or until the person faints. So the girl didn't faint. He actually got the carrot out of her throat and everyone was relieved. And after all that hullabaloo, we all kind of looked over to see what the sub had to say about the situation, and nothing. He just watched the situation with a blank slate look on his face. Like, what the heck? What are you? I've never seen less of a reaction from such a big situation from anyone in my entire life. You should make a reaction channel, come to think of it. He'd blend in with most of the people on YouTube doing it already. Anyway, enough with Mr. Blank Slate. I remember when I was in high school, we had kind of a main group of substitutes that were common to have when a teacher called in sick or something. And there was this one old man guy that everyone knew and absolutely hated. And before I say something like, "Oh, Jaiden, that's kind of rude to say," in our defense, he hated us too. Whenever a person walked in and saw him sitting behind the teacher's desk, the immediate thought would be, "Oh, crap, it's gonna be a rough day today." No one had to say it, but we were all thinking it. "Okay, Jaiden, so what was he like?" "Oh, stand up so you can sit down because I'm getting started." Take the strictest person you know and throw them out the window because this guy is now that person. I think he saw himself as a military instructor leading juvenile delinquents because he wanted every child to be behaving perfectly, to a T, no funny business. And yeah, that's not gonna happen in a high school, so there's problem one. He would start every class with the same lecture.
"Alright, sit down and zip up because we're taking attendance. If I hear any talking, you're being written up. I don't tolerate jokesters in my classroom. I'm going to call out your last name, followed by your first name, and if I don't hear you say present, then you're being marked absent. You should be paying attention because you only have one chance, and I'm not calling names twice. If I pronounce your name wrong, correct me. Alright, here we go." He says that exact paragraph every time he starts a class, and I know it because I've had him enough times to have it power washed into my head. I kinda wanna believe he has it written down and framed somewhere in his house so he can proudly look at it before he goes to bed every night. And he actually gets mad if you don't correct him if he says your name wrong. I know from experience. I don't care when people pronounce my name wrong. It happens all the time. I've gotten used to it. So I thought I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. Animations Jaiden.
Here.
Did I say that correctly?
It's close enough.
Correct me next time.
Sorry? He reminds me of if, like, Oscar the Grouch had a pet lemon, but the lemon was expired by 2 months and he keeps forgetting to throw it away. Like, "Oh crap, the lemon. I'll do it tomorrow." And he doesn't do it tomorrow. So I'll call him Mr. Yet to be Thrown Out Lemon, just for simplicity. I truly don't know why Mr. Yet to be Thrown Out Lemon worked as a substitute teacher, because you could just see the child hatred in his eyes. Somehow he made everyone in the class feel uncomfortable just by existing. So let me tell you a story about Mr. Yet to be Thrown Out Lemon. We had him in a biology class once, and we were just gonna work on a paper he had to pass out.
"Alright, we're gonna be doing a worksheet today. If I hear any talking, you're being written up. This is an individual worksheet, so there's absolutely no reason to talk to anyone at all during this hour. Everyone come up to the front of the room right now and grab a paper."
Mrs. Grapes does it so each person at a table has a number, and she calls out a random number, and that person just gets up and gets the paper for the rest of the table, so it's easier to—
I will not have slaves in my classroom!
What did he just say? This man just compared picking up papers for other classmates to slavery. Slavery! Good God, So we did it his way. The 34 of us all got up at the same time and shuffled to the front of the room, awkwardly squishing together to grab a paper from the one pile he made for us. You are a fruitcake. He did a lot of other weird over-the-top things, but this was by far the best thing I've ever witnessed from him. Oh, Mr. Yet-to-be-thrown-out Lemon, you're a real piece of work.
No talking. I'm going to call out your last name, followed by... This is an individual worksheet to happens reasons. I will not have slaffles in my classroom. I don't know what those are. This is an individual worksheet so that I'm gonna Metal Gear. Jaiden. Is there a Jaiden here? Jaiden. Jaiden. With animations of Jaiden. Is there a animations Jaiden. Jaiden. What the fuck?
As of now, Jaiden Animations is officially 10 years old. Yes, I know I technically made the channel in February, but shut up, I don't count that. On July 23rd, 2014, I uploaded my first ever animation to YouTube.
Hey everyone, my name is Jaiden, and welcome—
Alright, that's enough, you get the point. It's kind of old news that a lot of content creators have started retiring, especially after hitting the old 1-0. Making content on YouTube for 10 years has significantly changed the entire trajectory of my life. I started Jaiden Animations when I was 16. At the time, I was super shy, quiet, anxious, knew nothing about the world. I could count the number of friends I had on one finger. But not in a sad way, I liked my simple little life. For the longest time, I didn't even realize YouTube had channels or that people were uploading things like vlogs and series and skits. I mean, it was definitely less established at the time compared to now, but I saw YouTube as just the place to watch funny cats and compilations of people getting hit in the crotch. The way I found out about this whole online world was after coming home from school one day to find my laptop not turning on. Meaning, I couldn't play Minecraft anymore. We've all been there, it's tragic. To satisfy my desperate Minecraft hyperfixation, I typed Minecraft into the YouTube search bar to see if anyone just so happened to upload any Minecraft-related videos. And oh, were there people uploading Minecraft-related videos. My world expanded exponentially at that very moment. YouTube channels, subscribers, people uploading content for an audience that looks forward to their videos. The first channel I ever subscribed to was a Minecraft YouTuber who... I don't even, I'm blanking on the name, but I was now aware of YouTube as an actual community beyond funny fail compilations. Watching videos became a huge part of my day-to-day life. I'd put stuff on when I wanted to relax, laugh, needed background noise. If I was having a tough day, I would lock myself in my bathroom, lay on the floor, and watch videos on my phone, and I'd feel better. Even before making content myself, YouTube was an essential part of my life. I branched out from Minecraft to general gaming videos, even the occasional vlog series, until I stumbled upon a very special video in my suggested feed. An animated story time from a YouTuber called Domix. It was his emails video, I remember it so clearly. After watching it, I immediately binged his whole channel. I loved his animated stories, they made me laugh so much. For the first time ever, I thought to myself, I want to do stuff like that. I want to animate. And around the same time, I was really into Aya's Cupquake's Minecraft Oasis series and had even sent in a few fan arts I drew for her. She posted a couple at the end of her videos, which genuinely made me so extremely happy. I was totally freaking out. Anyway, in one of the episodes, she mentioned that she wanted to find an animator to animate some of her funny Minecraft moments. And suddenly, I saw the stars align in front of me. I sent her a little message attached to another fan art, basically saying, "Hi Cupquake, I'd love to animate for you if you're interested." And she ended up reaching out and was like, "Hey, we love your style and would love to work with you. Do you have an animation portfolio we can look at?" To which I responded with, so I've never actually animated before, But I'm learning, and honestly, they shouldn't have hired me. I wouldn't have hired me. But somehow I had secured my first animation job. And for my favorite YouTuber, this was by far the biggest thing to ever happen to me at the time. I wanted to make the best animation they could ever ask for. Now, I just had to learn how to animate. No joke, I literally typed how to animate and Adobe Flash tutorial into the YouTube search bar. That's how I learned. No class or school or nothing. I vividly remember opening Adobe Flash for the first time and wishing I could just skip forward in time to when I already knew how to even use the program because I was so confused. Humble beginnings, what can I say? And honestly, that's all it takes. People ask me all the time how I learned to animate, how I do this and that, what program to use. But you already have the biggest source of free online information at your fingertips. Just type whatever you want to learn into the search bar and people will literally teach it to you, no strings attached. While working on the animation for Cupquake and her husband Red, I talked to them about how I also wanted to make YouTube videos, that I wanted to animate little stories but was too nervous. They were both really supportive and encouraging, saying they'll put a link to my channel in the description of the animation to help me and stuff. I'll be completely honest, if Cupquake and Red didn't hire me and offer to help give me that initial push to start a YouTube channel, I wouldn't have made Jaiden Animations. Like I mentioned, I was quiet and soft-spoken. I didn't even get picked on because nobody knew anything about me to bully me with. They had nothing. In what world would a tiny little 16-year-old dust mite of a girl feel confident enough to start an animation YouTube channel where she talks about her life? Especially for what would be a single-digit amount of people for who knows how long. I'll tell ya, she does it in a world where she feels encouraged and inspired by the people she looked up to. There's so many timelines where none of this ever happened. So much had to come together just for me to start. And against all odds, it did. I finished the animation, they posted it, and I spent pretty much the entire month reading every single comment. Everyone loved it. It was doing really well. I remember messaging Cupquake a giant soppy thank you paragraph when the video hit 1 million views. By the way, the entire animation was made on only 3 layers because any more would make my brain confused. I genuinely cannot believe they hired me. At the same time, I posted my very first video as Jaiden Animations, introducing myself and announcing that I'm gonna try out making animation videos. It's funny looking back at because if you don't know all the context, you'll watch my first video and be like, who is this dumbass talking to? She just started the channel. There's no audience yet. The shout out Cupquake gave me in the description gave me the boost I needed to shake the second thoughts. I gained 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers right out the gate, and ever since then, I wanted to keep making more content, and I was really excited about it. I made more animations for Cupquake for a couple of years alongside posting my own stupid little videos until eventually parting ways with them to focus entirely on Jaiden Animations. Working with them was amazing, and those animations did overwhelmingly well at the time. Like, I look back and am still shocked. I apparently peaked with that damn 2014 FNAF animation. Come on, Nuzlocke. Surpass it, please. Free me from these shackles. By this time, I was in college now, and even though I wasn't able to post very much at all, things were doing really well. I remember sitting on the top of my dorm bunk, secretly celebrating hitting 100,000 subscribers, a milestone I was beyond thrilled about, and honestly was my biggest goal at the time. Somehow, my roommate ended up finding out about it and immediately told every single person on our floor, which embarrassed the hell out of me. But at the same time, I was sheepishly proud of myself that people thought what I was doing was cool. Along with new experiences, for the first time ever, I was making online friends and becoming part of a growing little animation community. Cypher Den, Tony V Tunes, Lightsen. I even stumbled onto James randomly after being recommended his ASMR video. I specifically remember going through his channel and thinking, I can't believe this guy doesn't have more subscribers. He's so funny. And welp, would you look at that. After finishing my first year in college, I ended up talking to my parents about taking a gap year to see where all this YouTube stuff could go. They were, of course, hesitant at first. Making videos on YouTube for money? Can you even do that? But eventually agreed and have been my biggest fans ever since. I was officially doing YouTube full time. I don't really know what happened, but a few months later, James started blowing up. In our little animation group chat, we were like, whoa, James, congrats. What's happening? And he was like, I don't know. Oh my God. And then I started blowing up too. And suddenly the entire Storytime animation community was rising and thriving. It felt like we were strapped onto a rocket heading straight for the stars. People really loved watching Storytime animation. We went to our first ever VidCon and there was a whole line of people that wanted to meet us, which is a crazy experience for our first convention ever. Since then, everything has kind of just been history. I kept posting, obviously, met new people, made incredible friends, started building my own animation team, learned a lot about the world, but most of all, being on YouTube forced me to grow thicker skin. I'm sure most of you can relate to some degree. Mindless hate, online arguments, people nitpicking and speculating that you're actually a horrible human being. Because of how normalized posting content is now with TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, I'm sure everyone has gotten their fair share of the hate hammer, but 10 years ago, it was pretty much only big online personalities who were familiar with it, and it comes at you pretty fast. Suddenly, you have to figure out how to hide your personal information and tell family members to private their Facebook accounts, which they don't know how to do. Scary emails come in, uncomfortable comments, lots of uncomfortable comments. I got doxxed one time because someone speculated I was a narcissistic liar because I claimed to be shy and introverted, but would get loud sometimes when reading scripts. Also, fun fact, I never planned on being public with my full name, but the reason it got leaked is because my old high school published an online article about my channel and dropped the full government without my permission. I'm still pissed about that one. And I know, this is genuinely what you just have to expect when you make content online. It's awful, but it's the truth. I didn't want to quit, so I adapted to the horrible things, awful videos made about me for attention. There's nothing a passerby hate comment can say that could surprise me anymore. If anything, they're all the same and it's just annoying at this point. Not saying I'm happy that I went through all of it and it should have happened. People can be genuinely awful. But I'd like to say I've come out of it all a version of myself that wouldn't have existed otherwise. Not because of all the shitty things, but in spite of them. I've learned how to stand up for myself, grew my confidence, learned how to separate myself from my work and not take comments personally. All things you learn out in the world over time as you grow up. But cranked to 100 and during the most insecure years of a person's life. It was hard, but hey, I'm still here, aren't I? I look back and see my mistakes, bad takes, stupid ideas, regret here and there. It's overwhelmingly stressful to grow up and learn and change while in the public's eye. Even more now than ever. But all things considered, I believe I was always trying my best in the position I was in. Was constantly trying to be the best person I could be. And I won't ever be upset at myself for that. Also, I do want to say a big thing that's followed me throughout almost my whole career at this point is the fact that yeah, I've talked about mental health and things I've struggled with at the time, like anxiety, depression, rock bottom confidence, etc., etc. I've definitely spilled my guts out on the floor in front of the internet a couple times in my day, and there's no part of me that regrets it at all. A lot of people have told me that they felt more understood or learned things about themselves through those videos, but as a now adult that's had the time to grow and adapt and overcome these things, man, you guys kind of still think I'm a little bit pathetic. I see comments all the time when I'm in my friends' videos or being involved in a big event, and so many people go, wow, I can't believe how far Jaiden's come from being this puny little scared teenager. I'm so proud of Jaiden really stepping out of her comfort zone here. She is just so brave for showing her face after dealing with such low confidence. That one's always funny because it can definitely come off like I should still be self-conscious, which I'm not, by the way. I get what those comments are saying. I really do. But guys, not everything I do has to be brave. I'm just doing fun things with friends on camera. We don't need the 24/7 Jaiden cheer squad busting out the trophies and medallions every single time. And we also don't need the Jaiden defense squad scrapping with anyone that says anything non-positive about me. It's the internet. People have the right to not like me for whatever reason. I promise, it's okay. I'm an adult. I'm doing fine. I appreciate the concern. At this point, it just comes across like I'm very pathetic pathetic and puny and can't do anything. Now, somehow, a decade has passed. I'm not the tiny, small 16-year-old who's afraid of everything and can't talk out loud for more than 15 minutes without straining her throat. That's true, by the way. I spent 15 minutes recording audio for my first video and my throat was dead afterwards. It was pathetic. Now I can record for an hour, which still hurts my throat. You can probably hear it, but that's a 400% improvement right there. I'm 26, created hundreds of hours worth of content, have the most wonderful team in the world behind me, am surrounded by amazing friends, live with the most important person in my life, with the most important little creatures in my life. I've gotten to meet content creators I've looked up to, got to tour and travel the world with talented friends, talk on panels to hundreds of people who wanted to hear what I had to say, been able to tell the people that inspired me how big of a role they've played in my career, and even got to stand next to them as an equal. I'm happy. Sure, it's always been and still is difficult dealing with the stress of being in a big spotlight. I went through some bad stuff, navigated rocky mental health, trusted people that hurt me, had to pretend not to be affected by things that were genuinely hurtful just to not empower people that wanted to see me break, all while in the eye of the public where one wrong step could crumble everything I've ever created. But I'm really happy with the place I'm at, the person I've become, and the environment I've built around me. So, what's that leave me with now? A full decade, man. Damn. 10 years of the most difficult, enjoyable, terrifying, exciting, stressful, grateful, soul-crushing, unforgettably special moments of my life. How lucky and grateful I am to have the privilege to say I've gotten to experience so many impossible things, to have so many dreams created and come true, to see myself persist through such a difficult position to be in. After taking a lot of time reminiscing and thinking about what could come next, the direction I want to take to follow what could keep making me happy, I've come to accept that YouTube isn't gonna be part of it. I'm happy with what I've accomplished. I had my rise and grind years. I experienced real and true passion. That's all I could really ask for here. There's not much else I want to do beyond it at this point. But before you freak out, I'm not quitting right this moment. I still absolutely love making content and still have the desire to keep making videos. But my YouTube years are numbered now. I fantasize about logging off as Jaiden Animations and becoming a normal person again. I want to move to a random-ass town in a random-ass place, have a little house with my creatures, have a normal job with normal hours and normal problems, live a life where people don't know who I am before I introduce myself. Not saying I don't like being recognized. You can come up to me, I promise. I don't mind. But eventually I just want to feel like a person again. Normal is rapidly changing nowadays, but I don't want this chronically online lifestyle forever. How nice it would feel to one day not have to triple check every single thing I say in fear of people's pitchforks, or fear for my safety when people maliciously leak my private information, or even be constantly surrounded by strangers' opinions on me and every version of myself I've ever been, every moment of my life. I hold it all together pretty well, I'd say. I mean, it's my job to. And none of these negatives have and ever will outweigh the positive aspects of this incredible opportunity that you guys have allowed me to have. I don't want to come across like I'm complaining. I very much understand this is just unfortunately part of it all, and I'm very privileged and very grateful. But I can't do it forever. And I don't want to. I want to feel like I have the time and mental energy to pursue new hobbies, experiment with other things that can make me happy. Making content for YouTube never leaves my head. It's the case for every single content creator on the platform. There's no clocking out, there's no weekends, there's no breaks. You can't just leave an office and not think about it. You're constantly brainstorming ideas, managing everything, schedules, employees. Sure, you can work and live anywhere you want, go on vacation at any point, build your own schedule, but it's always there. Like a black hole in your mind. It's just so exhausting. I haven't felt like I can sit back and enjoy something in 10 years because I simply do not have the time if it isn't for a video. Yeah, that's just how self-employment works, but don't forget about all the other fun stuff I've already mentioned on top of it all. I don't know what I want to do career-wise after retiring from YouTube, but I romanticize the idea of just getting to rediscover myself. Maybe I want to learn how to make custom plushes and open my own little shop, take art commissions, be a teacher, maybe an art director. It's gotten to the point where I think about that little life every day, and I'm actively aiming and walking towards it with every decision I make. Oh, let me tell you, I genuinely cannot wait to live it one day. But there's this other side of me that's so terrified. I've spent my entire young adult life in front of an audience doing pretty much one thing. I don't know what it's like to live without a platform, surrounded by a huge audience anymore. It scares me. Like a lot. I don't want to need this, but I'm scared that I do in some way. When the time comes, I'll definitely work on that fear in therapy or something, but I do think about it a lot. I'm not done with YouTube just yet. I still want to make animations and tell stories, animate little gaming videos. I still just love it so much, and I'm not going away just yet. Sorry to disappoint some of you. I just wanted to let you guys know how grateful I am that you've helped me be right here. I've gotten to meet hundreds of people who told me how much they liked my videos, felt inspired, discovered something about themselves, even did something as small as laugh at one of my stupid ass jokes. I can't wrap my head around the idea that a lot of you grew up watching my videos and are like functioning people in society now. That one always feels like, I know you're not calling me old, but you're calling me old. I'm grateful for all the art people have drawn for me. Even now, it's still so surreal. From the cute little doodles from kids to jaw-dropping, fully rendered pieces from artists of all ages. Like, you guys are better artists than me at this point. What do you mean I inspired you? Why does my art look like that then? The whole reason I show fan art at the end of my videos is because I look back at the feeling I got when Cupquake put my art in her videos, and I want to be able to give that back to other artists. People have told me they watch my videos to laugh, listen to while working, to feel better after a crummy day. All the ways I used to consume YouTube back in my day. Even though it's easy for me to tell myself, they're just little stupid videos I make. What's the big deal? It kind of also feels like I get to contribute to a cycle I used to be on the other side of and pay it back. I don't know, it just feels good knowing I've made stuff that's made people feel better in a way that other content creators used to make me feel better. I've rambled quite a bit, but thank you for letting me make these silly videos for 10 years. I never would have thought any of this could have happened to little old me, and definitely not for this long. I absolutely thought I would have been tossed aside and forgotten by now. I look back at when things were starting to roll, and I was like, I've got like a 3-year shelf life left. I'm forever grateful for you, my friends, my family, my team. I don't know what my life would have looked like if I didn't type Minecraft into the YouTube search bar when I was 14. Who knows how much more time we have with each other, but just know it has been and still is an honor to be here. And until then, I'll be doing my best to keep doing what I've been doing for 10 years and just make these silly little animations.
You know, the timing is a little awkward to have just won a giant MrBeast YouTuber challenge that put a lot of eyes on my channel, only for the first thing for me to put out since winning is me talking about how I'm really tired and want to retire one day. That was not intentional, I'm sorry. But yes, the next video coming out will be about me winning the MrBeast Cube. We're still working on getting the money all set up to be given away, so you can stop emailing me asking for money. It's not gonna work like that. Anyway, thank you to everyone who's been with me at any point of my YouTube career. I've still got a little bit more juice left in the tank. I'm forever lucky to have lived the life I have and to continue living that life. And I appreciate you guys for sticking around. I'm excited to spend a bit more time with you all. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
We all know those people, the few dim bulbs of the group. Now, they don't necessarily have to be called stupid, but their actions just make you go, ugh. Now, I'm fine with people not using the full extent of their brain cells to do things, but when their stupidity starts affecting me, then we're gonna start having some problems. The rule disregarder. Someone who either doesn't listen to rules or flat out ignores them. I had a class with this one person. I'm just gonna keep his identity a secret. I don't know what was wrong with him. He did lots of questionable things that made the class just shake their head. One time he asked the teacher if he could use a pen to fill out a bubble test, and if you don't understand how bubble tests work,
Normally you get a bubble sheet, fill out a multiple choice test corresponding to the letters on the test, and the teacher gives the filled out forms to this machine and it grades the test a lot faster than the teacher can. But the machine only works when you fill it out with a number 2 pencil. Maybe the guy didn't know how they worked, so I guess it wasn't a bad question. But a few weeks later, when we had another test, it turns out the same guy used, a pen to fill out his test. Really, guy? Really? And as the teacher was yelling at him for being so ignorant, it was noticed that he didn't even put his name on the test either. The advice ignore. When you give advice to someone, they ignore it, and they end up in this huge problematic situation that you predicted perfectly and they could have avoided if they just took your advice from the beginning. Tori, do you think I should date Aaron or Jet? Aaron has had at least 24 girlfriends and he's cheated on all of them. I'd say Jet. Oh my god, girl, wait. Aaron just asked me out to the carnival tonight. I have to go with him. I'll see you later. Oh my god, Tori, Aaron bailed on me for some blondie blonde who isn't even hot. You have to come pick me up. Aaron was my only ride home and I'm getting hecka wet in the rain. The non-future planner. Someone who doesn't think of the consequences of their stupid actions before they make them. Once when I was in 4th grade, I was in the school bathroom, and as I was walking down the little corridor to go into the stall, some girl randomly started yelling, "I'm gonna kick the door open!" And all of a sudden I heard this loud poof as one of the stall doors flew open at my face. Now luckily, I was a master of karate arts when I was little, so my reflexes were lightning fast, and I was actually able to block the door with my arm instead of my face. And I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty proud of myself because I've never done anything that amazing before. But, I mean, come on. If it wasn't me standing there and instead some, I don't know, poor little kindergartner who couldn't block the door if they tried, there could have been some major issues. I even had a pretty bad bruise on my arm from where I blocked it. Be ignorant. When someone doesn't pay attention to their surroundings, when they could be a hazard to something or themselves.
Jeff, where do you want these knives? Oh, hey, Jeff, didn't see you there. Dawn wanted them over by the cabinet over there. Hey, Dawn! Jeff said you wanted these over there. What? No, they're the knives you wanted. Yeah. You sure? Okay, catch. No? Okay, I'll sprint them over to you.
The important detail overlooker. Someone who is told important details and immediately forgets them. Okay, so for the party tomorrow, you said you can bake the cookies? Yep. Do you want a specific kind? Nope. I can eat everything but peanuts, so everything else you want is fine. Hey, glad you could make it. What did you bring? Peanut butter cookies. You want one? They're still warm. Hello? Hello everyone! Sorry I haven't uploaded in a while. As you know, as most of you should know, I was really busy working on the new Aya's Cupcake animation, the Surgeon Simulator one, but I am back and I'm working on my next animation for you all. But for now, here's some questions that you've sent to me through Twitter and DeviantArt. Where do you get your animation ideas for your channel? I've just gotten all my ideas from society and the world around us, whether it be from noticing things, just walking around, embarrassing real-life experiences. So basically, all the stories that I'm animating for you all are just from the juices of life. Do you have any animation tips or tricks? When I was just starting, like I said in my last Q&A, my first animation experience was a huge project, and at the time I had no idea how to actually animate or do anything, and it was scary, it was intimidating, so I would say don't start off with a huge idea or skit because chances are it'll get overwhelming, it'll get confusing, you don't know what the heck in the world is going on, so start off with the basics. I don't know, like a bouncing ball or a walking guide, just to get an understanding of the animation process, and then you can go from there.
Will you make animations for other YouTubers? I would love to work with other YouTubers. Working with Cupquake is so awesome. They are amazing people, and I'd love to reach out to some other YouTube channels. I've recently become obsessed with British YouTubers, so I feel like it'd be fun to work with one of them. My favorites are Den and Phil. Most of you should know them, and I feel like they would have some really great animation ideas. Maybe you guys can help me get in contact with them, like tweet them or something. I don't know. Moving on. Am I Team Torchic, Team Trico, or Team Mudkip? Pokemon Ruby was the first ever Pokemon game I ever played, and it's my favorite. And the first time I ever played through it, I picked Torchic, and ever since I was hooked, I love Torchic. Torchic is bae. Also, Blaziken is tied with being my all-time favorite Pokemon ever. Not to say that I dislike Trico or Mudkip, I still love them both, but I always go with my fiery karate chicken. What is 2 plus 2? Do I need to? If I could be any animal that matches my personality, what would it be? This is kind of a funny coincidence because in junior high, I was in a class and somehow we got on the topic of deciding what animal I would be, and apparently the class thought I would be a bunny, so I guess being a bunny wouldn't be that bad. You know, hopping around, eating grass, until you're savagely eaten by a coyote. But, you know, besides that, that'd be pretty cool. How big of a Pokemon fan are you? You all do not understand. I am such a big Pokemon fan. I've played almost all the main games, some side games, I have merchandise, and I actually play it competitively. Yes, there is a technical side to Pokemon that many people are not aware of. It includes complicated things like EVs, IVs, natures, stats, abilities, stuff like that. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then you are not ready. Once you are enlightened, you can never play it the same way again. You have been warned. Do you like drawing traditionally or digitally? I started off drawing on paper just like anyone else would. Crayons, markers, stuff like that. So I was always used to paper when I was growing up. But when I got my first drawing pad, I started drawing digitally a lot more. And now I really like drawing digitally just because it's so much easier to fix things or undo something. Control Z is my god. So I am much more of a digital drawer now. Do you play any other games other than Pokemon? I'm just a big Nintendo fan. All my favorite games are made by them. I love Animal Crossing, Kirby, Smash Bros, Mario. Kate and I love playing Cooking Mama together because we raged when we ruined the dish by washing all the rice down the sink, or burning the beef in the stir-fry because the stupid onions wouldn't cook fast enough. I basically enjoy all the cute cartoony games. What is your advice for people learning to draw? I would say, don't let anything discourage you. If you're passionate enough towards drawing, then you need to keep doing it. Practice literally makes perfect when it comes to drawing. One tip that I figured out is you shouldn't compare your work with other people's. Everyone draws differently, they all have their own style, and comparing yourself only discourages you. Also, listen to what other people say about your work. Don't just quote-unquote block out the haters, because the art world is based on criticism and how people perceive your artwork, so listening to other people's points of view can help you grow as an artist and get better. Well, that's all the questions I have time for. Thank you to everyone who sent one in. If you want to ask a question for the next Q&A, be sure to follow me on Twitter and DeviantArt. I love you all, and goodbye!